The Force binds all things across the galaxy, connecting every living being in an invisible web of energy and intention. For 1,000 generations, the Jedi had studied this mystical field, learning to sense disturbances in its current like ripples across still water. But what happens when something crashes into their reality from beyond the stars, something powerful beyond measure, yet completely invisible to the Force itself? The sky above Coruscant's temple district tore open. Not with the familiar shimmer of a hyperspace exit or the roar of descending starships, but with a sound like reality itself screaming. A vortex of golden energy spiraled through the upper atmosphere, distorting the endless stream of air traffic and sending speeders careening off their designated lanes. Emergency klaxons wailed across a dozen sectors as the anomaly expanded, crackling with power that made the Force itself recoil like a living thing flinching from flame. In the Jedi Temple's council chamber, Master Yoda's ears twitched. His ancient eyes snapped open from meditation, and for the first time in decades, uncertainty flickered across his weathered features. "Feel that, do you?" Mace Windu stood at the viewport, his hand instinctively moving to his lightsaber hilt. Below, the golden vortex was collapsing inward, contracting to a single point of impossible brightness. "It's not the Force. It's something else." "Wrong, you are not," Yoda murmured, rising from his hover chair with unusual urgency. "A disturbance unlike any in 900 years have I felt. Yet sense it clearly, I cannot. A void where power should be." The vortex imploded. The shockwave rattled transparent steel viewports across half the district. When the light cleared, a figure was falling, plummeting toward the temple's meditation gardens at terminal velocity, trailing smoke and fading golden light. No parachute deployed. No repulsor lifts engaged. Mace reached out with the Force, preparing to arrest the figure's descent. His power enveloped the falling form, and slipped off like oil on water. "I can't catch him. The Force won't." The impact cratered the meditation garden. Ancient stone pathways cracked in a spiderweb pattern. Meditation fountains shattered, sending water cascading across scorched grass. The sound echoed through the temple's 1,000 corridors like a challenge, like thunder before a storm. Jedi across the complex felt it, not through the Force, but through the simple, undeniable physics of something immensely powerful making violent contact with their world. When the dust settled, a man stood in the center of the crater. He was shorter than expected, perhaps 5'9", with wild black hair that defied gravity in impossible spikes. His orange and blue gi was torn and scorched, and his muscular frame showed signs of recent combat, bruises, cuts, the kind of damage that should have left him unconscious. But he was grinning. Actually grinning, like a child who just discovered a new game. "Whoa," Goku said, looking around at the towering temple spires with genuine wonder. "That was weird. One second I'm fighting Beerus, next thing I know," he noticed the dozen Jedi temple guards surrounding him, their yellow lightsaber pikes ignited and pointed in his direction. "Oh. Hey there." He raised one hand in a friendly wave. The temple guards didn't lower their weapons. Through their masks, Goku could feel their tension, their confusion. They were strong, he could sense that much, even if their energy felt different from Ki, stranger and more, everywhere. Like the whole planet was alive with it. "Identify yourself," the lead guard commanded, his pike steady despite the sweat on his neck. "How did you penetrate the temple's shields?" Goku scratched his head, that familiar gesture that had preceded both profound wisdom and spectacular misunderstandings throughout his life. "I'm Goku. Son Goku. And I didn't really penetrate anything, I just kinda appeared. Is this Earth?" "Wait, no, there's too many moons." He looked up at Coruscant's 3 visible satellites. "And those buildings are way too tall. Where am I?" Behind the guards, Mace Windu descended the temple steps with Yoda at his side. Other council members were emerging now, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, Shakti. Their faces showed the careful neutrality of warriors assessing an unknown threat, but Goku could sense something else beneath it, genuine bewilderment. You are in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, May said, his deep voice carrying authority and caution in equal measure. Capital of the Galactic Republic. And you, stranger, are either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish to crash land in the heart of the Jedi Order during a time of war. Jedi. Goku's eyes lit up. Are you guys fighters? You feel strong, different from anything I've sensed before, but definitely strong. His battle-honed instincts were already analyzing them, cataloging their movements, the way they held those glowing swords. And what's a Galactic Republic? Is that like Earth's government? Yoda stepped forward, leaning on his Jimmer stick, his eyes studying Goku with an intensity that made even the Scion pay attention. From this galaxy, you are not. Sense you in the Force, I cannot. Yet power radiates from you like a star's heart. Explain this, you will. Goku's expression turned serious for the first time. You can't sense me. That's weird, where I come from, anyone with decent ki control can feel each other's energy. Unless, he powered up slightly, just enough to test something. A faint golden aura flickered around his body for a heartbeat. Every Jedi in the garden tensed. It wasn't the Force, they were certain of that, but it was power. Raw, immense, and completely foreign to their understanding of the universe. Fascinating, Mace breathed. It's like looking at a sun through a filter. We can see the effect, but we can't touch the source. Dangerous, this one may be, Yoda said quietly. Or perhaps, precisely what the Force has sent us, at the hour of our greatest need. His ancient eyes narrowed. To the council chambers, you will come. Questions, we have. Many questions. Goku nodded agreeably, letting his aura fade. Sure. I've got questions too. Like, where am I really? And how do I get home? And, his stomach growled audibly, do you guys have food? I'm starving. Despite the tension, despite the war raging across 1,000 star systems, despite the darkness gathering at the edge of their perception, several Jedi found themselves suppressing smiles. There was something disarmingly honest about this strange warrior, something pure that the temple hadn't felt in a very long time. As the temple guards escorted Goku toward the council spire, Mace leaned close to Yoda. What do you sense, Master? Sense him, I cannot, Yoda repeated. But feel something, I do. A great destiny, perhaps. Or a great catastrophe. He watched Goku's retreating back, the Scion still looking around in wonder at the impossible architecture surrounding them. Time will tell which he brings to our galaxy. Time, and the choices he makes. Above them, Coruscant's artificial lights began to glow against the gathering dusk. Somewhere in the Senate district, Palpatine paused mid-conversation with a trade delegate, his yellow eyes flickering toward the temple. He had felt it too, that impossible surge of power, that void in the Force where something immensely dangerous now stood. The game was changing. And the Sith Lord smiled, already calculating how to turn this unexpected variable to his advantage. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Wars galaxy, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The council chamber's circular design had witnessed 10,000 debates, judgments, and deliberations. Holocrons preserved the wisdom of Jedi who had sat in these very chairs centuries before the Republic's current form had even existed. But in all that accumulated history, in all those recorded sessions, there had never been a meeting quite like this. Goku stood in the center of the chamber, rotating slowly to take in each council member. His eyes showed genuine curiosity rather than intimidation, a response that was itself notable. Most who stood before the assembled masters of the Jedi Order felt the weight of their combined presence, the centuries of wisdom and power focused into a single space. This stranger seemed more interested in the view out the windows. Incredible, he murmured, watching the endless stream of air traffic flowing past the temple's spires. Your whole planet is one giant city. How many people live here? 1 trillion souls call Coruscant home, Kiadi Mundi answered, his tall frame leaning forward with scientific interest. Though your question suggests you come from a less densely populated world. Way less, Goku agreed. Earth's got maybe 7 billion people, and that's after we stopped blowing it up every few years. He said it so casually, as if planetary destruction was an unfortunate but manageable inconvenience. Mace Windu's expression remained neutral, but his fingers drummed once against his armrest. You mentioned someone named Beerus. Who is this being, and why were you fighting them? Oh, Lord Beerus. He's the god of destruction for Universe 7, my universe, I guess. We weren't really fighting seriously, just sparring. He gets bored easily, so I help him stay entertained. If I don't, he might destroy Earth again, and Bulma gets really annoyed when that happens. The silence that followed was profound. Destroy Earth, again. Shock T repeated carefully, her head-tails twitching with barely suppressed alarm. Goku waved his hand dismissively. It's fine. The Dragon Balls can wish it back. They can undo pretty much anything, death, planetary destruction, you name it. We've gotten pretty good at collecting them over the years. Yoda's eyes had narrowed to slits. These Dragon Balls, powerful artifacts, they are. Wish back the dead, you say. Balance of life and death, disturb they do not. I mean, there are rules, Goku admitted, scratching his head in that characteristic gesture. You can't wish back someone who died of natural causes if they don't want to come back. And you can only wish back someone once, at least with Earth's Dragon Balls. The Namekian ones are more flexible. He paused, noticing their expressions. What? Is that weird here? There is no such power in our galaxy, Plo-kun said, his voice modulated through his breathing mask. Death is absolute. The Force may preserve consciousness, but the body, once destroyed, cannot be restored. That's rough, Goku said with genuine sympathy. So when someone dies here, they're just gone. Their essence joins with the Force, Obi-Wan Kenobi spoke up from his seat, stroking his beard thoughtfully. But yes, the physical form is lost. Which makes your casual mention of planetary destruction and resurrection rather disturbing, I must say. Mace leaned forward, his dark eyes intense. This god of destruction, Beerus. How powerful is he, compared to you? Goku's expression turned serious, and for the first time, the council members saw the warrior beneath the friendly exterior. Way more powerful than me. Even with Ultra Instinct, that's my strongest form, I can maybe entertain him for a while. But if Beerus decided to actually destroy something, really destroy it, I couldn't stop him. Nobody could, except maybe Whis, his attendant. Yet you fight him for entertainment? Kit Fisto asked, his perpetual smile faltering slightly. Well, yeah. He's strong, and I love fighting strong opponents. That's how I get stronger myself, by pushing past my limits. Goku's eyes brightened. Actually, that's perfect. You guys must have strong fighters here, right? I mean, those glowing swords are pretty cool, and I can tell you all have some kind of special power. Maybe we could spar sometime. Mace exchanged a glance with Yoda. The stranger's priorities were becoming clear, and deeply concerning. Mr. Goku. We are not warriors who fight for sport. The Jedi are peacekeepers, guardians of the Republic. We use our abilities only in defense of others. Oh. Goku looked genuinely confused. But you're in a war, right? That guard guy mentioned it earlier. So you do fight. The Clone Wars, Yoda confirmed gravely. A conflict forced upon us by the Separatist Alliance. Fight we must, but revel in combat, we do not. A necessary burden, war is. Not a joy. Goku frowned, trying to understand. Where he came from, fighting strong opponents was the greatest expression of respect, a way to test yourself and grow. These Jedi seemed to view it as an unfortunate necessity. It was like meeting warriors who were ashamed of being warriors. Tell us of this force you mentioned being unable to sense, Ki-Adi-Mundi interjected, steering the conversation to more analytical ground. You said where you come from, those with Ki control can sense each other. Explain this energy. Ki is life energy, Goku explained, grateful for familiar territory. Every living thing has it, animals, plants, even planets themselves. With training, you can learn to sense it, control it, use it to make yourself stronger or shoot energy blasts. Watch. He held out his palm, and a small sphere of blue-white energy materialized above it, crackling with barely contained power. The Jedi tensed, hands moving toward lightsabers, but Goku kept the sphere stable and harmless. Just a demonstration. This is Ki, he said simply. Concentrated life energy given form. I can make it bigger, change its shape, fire it like a weapon. It's how I fly, how I fight, how I do pretty much everything. The sphere dissipated, and Goku looked around at their faces. But your energy, this force thing you keep talking about, it's different. It's everywhere, like the whole planet is soaking in it. Back home, Ki is internal, something you build up inside yourself. Here, it feels external. Connected to everything. A perceptive observation, Obi-Wan noted with growing respect. The Force indeed flows through all living things, binding the galaxy together. But it requires sensitivity to perceive and use. You say you cannot sense us through this Force. I can sense you, Goku corrected. Just differently. It's like, he struggled for the right words, like you're speaking a language I don't know, but I can still tell you're talking. Your power's there, I just can't read it the way I read Ki. Yoda hummed thoughtfully, his jimmer stick tapping against the floor. And yet, sense you through the Force, we cannot. Avoid you are. Present, but invisible to our most fundamental perception. His eyes fixed on Goku with unnerving intensity. Dangerous, such a void could be. A threat we cannot anticipate or counter. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Goku realized, perhaps for the first time, that he wasn't just being questioned, he was being evaluated as a potential enemy. I'm not here to cause trouble, he said earnestly. I don't even know how I got here. One minute I'm sparring with Beerus in my universe, the next I'm crashing into your meditation garden. I just want to figure out how to get home. And if you cannot? Mace asked quietly. What then? Will you fight in our war? Choose a side. Or simply wander the galaxy seeking strong opponents to battle? Goku opened his mouth to answer, then closed it. He honestly didn't know. Fighting strong opponents was his nature, his joy, his reason for training every day. But these Jedi clearly viewed that differently. And from what little he'd seen of Coruscant, this wasn't like Earth. This was a galaxy-spanning civilization, with politics and wars and complexities he couldn't begin to understand yet. I don't know, he admitted. But I know I won't hurt innocent people. I've spent my whole life protecting Earth from threats, aliens, androids, gods, demons, you name it. I'm a good guy. He grinned. Maybe not the smartest guy, but definitely one of the good ones. Despite themselves, several council members felt tension ease slightly. There was something deeply sincere about this strange warrior, something uncomplicated in a galaxy that had grown far too complex. A test, Yoda announced suddenly. Give you, we will. Your power, demonstrate you must. Your intentions, prove. Then decide we shall, ally, guest, or threat. Goku's grin widened. A test? Like a sparring match? Precisely that, Mace said, rising from his seat. Outside, the sun was setting over Coruscant's endless cityscape, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Tomorrow, in the temple's training grounds, you will face Jedi Knights in combat. Show us what you can do, Son Goku. Show us if your power is something we should welcome, or fear. As the council dismissed him and temple guards arrived to escort him to guest quarters, Goku couldn't help the excitement building in his chest. A chance to test himself against a completely new type of fighter. To see what these Force users could do. This might not be home, but it was already getting interesting. Behind him, Yoda and Mace remained in the chamber, watching the strange warrior's departure. "Your thoughts, Master?" Mace asked quietly. "Powerful, he is. More powerful perhaps than any being I have encountered." Yoda's expression was troubled. "But power without wisdom, a danger is. Power without connection to the Force," he trailed off, ancient eyes distant. "A weapon, he could become. The question is, whose weapon?" In the Senate district, Palpatine stood at his office viewport, fingers steepled as he gazed toward the Jedi Temple. Through the dark side, he had felt that impossible power, that void where the Force refused to penetrate. An unknown variable in his carefully orchestrated plan. The Sith Lord's smile was thin and cold. Unknown variables needed to be studied, understood, and ultimately controlled. Or eliminated. The game, as they said, was afoot. Dawn broke over Coruscant in layers of pink and gold, the artificial lights of a trillion buildings slowly dimming as the planet's sun rose behind distant skyscrapers. In the Jedi Temple's training arena, a vast circular space with reinforced floors and energy-dampening walls, 200 Jedi had gathered to witness something unprecedented. Goku stood in the center of the arena, stretching his arms and rolling his shoulders. A temple attendant had provided him with a fresh GI overnight, this one pure white with the Jedi Order's symbol stitched on the back. He'd insisted on keeping his own boots and belt though. Some things were just comfortable. "You slept well?" Obi-Wan asked, approaching with measured steps. He'd been assigned as Goku's handler, part diplomat, part observer. The negotiator, they called him, and already he was finding this assignment more challenging than most peace talks. "Great. Your beds are really soft," Goku said enthusiastically. "And the food you guys brought me last night was amazing. I ate for like 2 hours straight." The kitchen staff seemed confused, but they kept bringing more. "I heard," Obi-Wan said dryly. "You consumed enough to feed a platoon of clone troopers. The commissary is still recovering." He glanced around the arena at the assembled Jedi, Knights, Padawans, even several Masters. "Quite the audience you've attracted." Word spread quickly about the stranger who fell from the sky. Goku looked at the gathered Jedi with interest. He could sense them now, their strange Force energy creating a collective presence that was almost overwhelming. So many powerful people in one place. His Scion blood sang at the possibility. "So who am I fighting?" he asked eagerly. "Them." Obi-Wan gestured to the arena's far side. 6 Jedi Knights entered, their lightsabers unignited but held ready. Goku recognized their body language, disciplined, cautious, coordinated. They'd fought together before. This wasn't just a test of his power, it was a test of his tactics, his restraint, his ability to work within limits. Smart, he thought. Definitely smart. Mace Windu's voice rang out from the observation platform, amplified through the arena's sound system. "Son Goku. You will spar against these Jedi Knights, all of them simultaneously. The objective is simple, demonstrate your abilities without causing permanent harm. Lightsabers will be set to training mode, which will sting but not maim. You will use whatever power you deem appropriate. The match ends when one side yields or can no longer continue." Goku nodded, his expression shifting from friendly to focused. "Got it. Don't kill anyone, show what I can do." "Easy enough." "One more thing," Yoda's aged voice added. "Hold back too much, you must not. Your true capabilities, we need to see. Only then can we properly assess the danger, or opportunity, you represent." The 6 Jedi Knights spread out, forming a loose circle around Goku. Their leader, a Zabrak named Sauron with traditional facial tattoos, ignited his blue lightsaber. The distinctive snap hiss echoed through the arena, followed by 5 more as his companions activated their own blades, 2 blue, 2 green, 1 purple. Goku dropped into a ready stance, his body relaxed but perfectly balanced. No power-up yet, no visible energy. Just a martial artist's foundation, built on decades of training in combat. Begin. Mace commanded. The Jedi moved as one. Sauron came from the front, his lightsaber executing a textbook Shicho opening strike. Two knights flanked left and right, their blades seeking to limit Goku's movement. The remaining three hung back, watching for openings, their connection through the Force allowing them to coordinate without words. Goku didn't move until the last possible instant. Then he was simply elsewhere. Not teleportation, instant transmission required him to lock onto a key signature, and he still couldn't read these Force users clearly enough for that. This was pure speed, movement so fast it seemed to bypass the space between positions. One moment he stood in the circle's center, the next he was behind Sauron, tapping the Zobrik's shoulder with 2 fingers. "Nice opening," Goku said cheerfully. Sauron spun, his lightsaber carving a horizontal arc. Goku leaned back, the training blade passing inches from his nose. The heat from the plasma blade was intense, hotter than anything he'd expected. Interesting. These weapons were no joke. The 2 flanking knights struck simultaneously, their blades converging on Goku's position in a pincer attack. He jumped straight up, easily clearing 20 feet, and landed behind them. A casual kick, barely more than a tap, sent one knight stumbling forward into his companion. Both went down in a tangle of robes and deactivated lightsabers. 2 down, someone muttered in the audience. The remaining 4 knights regrouped, their formation tighter now. Goku could see them communicating somehow, their eyes unfocused for split seconds as information passed between them. That Force connection, he realized. They were sharing what they learned, adapting in real time. "Not bad," he said approvingly. "You guys work together really well." A female Mirialan knight named Tira struck from an unexpected angle, her green blade thrust toward Goku's center mass while her free hand extended in a pushing motion. Goku felt it, that strange Force energy gathering and then erupting outward. A telekinetic shove that would have sent most opponents flying. He took a half step back from the impact, his feet skidding slightly on the arena floor. That was all. Tira's eyes widened behind her falling strike. Goku caught her lightsaber hand gently, stopping the blade's momentum, and redirected it harmlessly to the side. "That pushing thing you did, can you teach me that? It feels like ki, but different." She tried to pull free. Goku's grip was immovable, his fingers like dura steel around her wrist. Not painful, just absolutely unmovable. "I yield," she said quietly. Goku released her immediately, his grin returning. "Thanks for the match." The 3 remaining knights, Sauron and 2 humans, exchanged glances. Their opponent hadn't even powered up yet, hadn't shown any of that golden energy from yesterday's arrival. This was just his base form, his natural physical abilities, and he was toying with Jedi Knights like they were Padawans in their first year of training. Coordinated assault, Sauron commanded through the Force. All at once. Full intensity. They moved in perfect synchronization, lightsabers weaving a net of plasma around Goku's position. The training blades hummed and crackled, creating overlapping zones of attack that should have been impossible to evade. Their footwork was flawless, their timing immaculate. This was the Jedi at their finest, warriors who had trained their entire lives for moments exactly like this. Goku blocked one blade with his bare forearm. The training saber's edge, still hot enough to sear flesh, met his skin and stopped. Just stopped, as if it had struck dura steel plating. The knight wielding it stared in disbelief as Goku casually pushed the blade aside with a finger, then ducked under a follow-up strike and swept the man's legs out from under him with a gentle trip. "Your weapons are really hot," Goku observed, examining his forearm. There was a faint red mark where the lightsaber had made contact, nothing more. "But not hot enough to hurt, I guess." "Good thing too, I was worried for a second there." Sauron and the final knight attacked together, their blades moving in a blur of coordinated strikes. High-low, left-right, thrust-slash, every combination in the Jedi arsenal. Goku moved through the assault like water, his body responding with the instinct of thousands of battles. He didn't think about blocking or dodging, his body simply understood combat at a level beyond conscious thought. Finally, he caught both lightsabers. One hand for each blade, palms pressed against the training edges. The plasma burned against his skin, and Goku felt actual pain for the first time since the match began. Not much, just enough to make him respect these weapons properly. He held the blades motionless, looking at the two Jedi with genuine admiration. "You guys are really skilled," he said sincerely. "On Earth, there aren't many people who could push me this hard without key abilities. Your technique is amazing." "We haven't pushed you at all," Sauron said, breathing hard. "You're not even trying." Goku's expression turned apologetic. "Sorry. You want me to show more?" He glanced up at the observation platform where the Council Saturday, Master Yoda said not to hold back too much. Mace Windu leaned forward, his knuckles white on the platform railing. "Show us. Let us see what you truly are." "Okay then." Goku released the lightsabers and stepped back. The 6 knights, including those who'd been eliminated earlier, all moved to the arena's edge without being told. Some instinct warned them that they wanted distance for what came next. Goku closed his eyes, took a breath, and let his power rise. The arena floor cracked beneath his feet. Golden light erupted around his body like a rising sun, his hair shifting from black to blonde in an instant. His eyes became turquoise, crackling with power. The air itself seemed to vibrate, resonating with energy that made every force sensitive in the building flinch. This wasn't the Force, it was something else entirely, something primal and raw and absolutely overwhelming. "This is Super Saiyan," Goku said, his voice carrying an edge it hadn't held before. "My first transformation. There are others, way stronger ones, but this should be enough to give you an idea." He moved. One moment he stood in the arena's center, the next he was in front of Sauron again. But this time, there was no casual tap on the shoulder. Goku's hand was already pulled back in a punch that stopped 1 millimeter from the Zobrik's face. The air displacement from the near miss ruffled Sauron's robes and nearly extinguished his lightsaber through sheer turbulence. "See the difference?" Goku asked. Then he was across the arena, standing in front of Tira. Another punch, this one directed at the floor beside her. His fist didn't actually make contact, it stopped a hand's width from the reinforced durasteel. The shockwave still cratered the floor in a 10-foot radius, sending cracked spiderwebbing across the entire arena surface. The observation platforms shook. Several Padawans stumbled. Through the Force, every Jedi in the temple felt it, not the power itself, but its effects, the way it made reality bend around this golden warrior. Goku appeared back in the center, powering down. His hair returned to black, the golden aura dissipated, and his friendly expression returned as if he'd just finished a light warm-up. That's usually enough to handle most threats back home. Well, most normal threats anyway. The really dangerous stuff requires me to go higher. The arena was silent. Then Anakin Skywalker, watching from the crowd with his Padawan Ahsoka, let out a low whistle. "Now that's pod racing." Yoda's expression was unreadable, his ancient eyes half-closed in deep thought. Mace stood frozen, his mind racing through calculations and scenarios and tactical implications. Obi-Wan stroked his beard, his legendary composure showing visible cracks. Finally, Kit Fisto broke the silence with his characteristic grin. "Well, at least we know he's telling the truth about fighting gods." The council reconvened in emergency session less than an hour after the demonstration. Through the temple's vast corridors, whispers spread like wildfire. The stranger could destroy a Jedi Knight without even touching them, his power eclipsed anything in living memory, he transformed into something golden and unstoppable. Already, the story was growing, mutating, becoming legend. Goku sat in the guest quarters they'd assigned him, happily working through his third breakfast while Obi-Wan sat across from him, nursing a cup of CAF and trying to process what he'd witnessed. "You said there are stronger forms," Obi-Wan ventured carefully. "How much stronger?" Goku swallowed a massive bite of some kind of roasted bird. "Well, Super Saiyan 2 is twice as strong, give or take. Super Saiyan 3 is about 4 times stronger than that, but it drains energy really fast. Then there's Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, blue with Kaioken stacked on top, Ultra Instinct," he counted on his fingers. "I kinda lose track sometimes. The power jumps get pretty crazy." "Crazy," Obi-Wan repeated faintly. "Yes, I suppose that's one word for it." He set down his CAF. "Goku, do you understand what you represent to us? To the galaxy? A really strong fighter?" Goku offered. "A potential extinction event." Obi-Wan's tone was gentle but firm. "In that arena, you demonstrated the ability to kill trained Jedi Knights without effort. You cratered reinforced flooring with a punch that didn't even land. And that was, by your own admission, your weakest transformation." He leaned forward. "Now imagine what the Separatists would do to acquire that power. Or worse, what the Sith would do." "The Sith?" Goku paused mid-bite. "Master Yoda mentioned them yesterday. They're bad guys, right? The worst kind." Obi-Wan's expression darkened. "The Sith are users of the dark side of the Force, the aspect fueled by anger, hatred, fear, and aggression. For a millennium, we believed them extinct. But they've returned, and they're orchestrating this war from the shadows. We know of at least 2, a master and an apprentice. Count Dooku, who leads the Separatist Alliance, is one. His master remains hidden." Goku's expression grew serious. "So there's someone even stronger than this Dooku guy, pulling the strings?" "We believe so. And if they learn about you," Obi-Wan didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. A chime at the door interrupted them. A protocol droid entered, its golden plating reflecting the morning light. "Master Kenobi, the Council requests Son Goku's presence. There is also a holographic transmission from Separatist space. Count Dooku wishes to speak with the Jedi Council, and he specifically requested that the Golden Warrior be present." Obi-Wan and Goku exchanged glances. "That was fast," Goku said. "Too fast," Obi-Wan agreed grimly. "Which means Dooku has spies in the temple, or his Sith master does. Come on. And Goku? Let me do most of the talking." The council chamber's holoprojector flickered to life, and Count Dooku's distinguished features materialized in blue holographic light. The former Jedi looked every bit the aristocrat, elegant beard, curved lightsaber hilt at his belt, eyes that radiated intelligence and barely concealed contempt. "Masters," Dooku greeted with a slight bow that somehow conveyed more mockery than respect. "I trust I'm not interrupting your morning meditations." "Your courtesy is as hollow as your cause, Dooku," Mace replied coldly. "What do you want?" "Want? I merely wish to congratulate you on your new recruit." Dooku's gaze shifted to Goku, who stood slightly behind Obi-Wan. "The Golden Warrior who fell from the sky. News of your little demonstration has already reached my networks. Quite the impressive display, by all accounts." Goku stepped forward despite Obi-Wan's restraining hand on his shoulder. "You're Count Dooku. Obi-Wan says you're one of the bad guys." A flicker of amusement crossed Dooku's holographic face. Master Kenobi has always had a talent for oversimplification. "Tell me, warrior, do you even understand the war you've stumbled into? Do you know why the Separatists fight?" "Not really," Goku admitted. "I just got here." How refreshingly honest. Dooku clasped his hands behind his back. "The Galactic Republic is corrupt, bloated, and dying. The Senate cares only for power and profit. The Jedi have become the Republic's attack dogs, compromising their principles to serve politicians. We of the Separatist Alliance seek freedom from this decay, the right to govern ourselves without bureaucratic interference. He makes it sound noble, Obi-Wan interjected sharply. But the Separatists are backed by corporate cartels interested only in profits. They use droid armies to conquer worlds and enslave populations. Their freedom is freedom for the wealthy and powerful to exploit everyone else. Dooku's smile was thin. And the Republic's clone army, grown in tubes, programmed for obedience, bred to die for a government they cannot even vote for, is somehow more moral. Goku looked between them, his brow furrowed. You both have armies that aren't really people. Just manufactured soldiers. The question hung in the air, uncomfortable in its simplicity. Both sides of the Clone Wars relied on artificial armies, the Republic's clones and the Separatist droids. Neither asked their citizens to actually fight. It was a war of proxies, of manufactured combatants dying for causes that most civilians only watched on HoloNet broadcasts. The clones are people, Obi-Wan said firmly. They have names, personalities, hopes. I've fought beside them. They're as human as anyone. Semantics, Dooku dismissed. But I digress. Son Goku, I extend an invitation. Come to Sereno, my home world. See the Separatist Alliance with your own eyes, free from Jedi propaganda. Judge for yourself which side deserves your considerable power. He's not interested in your lies, Dooku, Mace growled. I'm not interested in being recruited by anyone, Goku corrected, his tone pleasant but firm. Where I come from, I've fought bad guys who wanted to rule planets, blow up suns, or just kill everyone for fun. I've learned that the ones who try hardest to convince you they're right are usually the ones with the most to hide. Dooku's expression hardened. Profound wisdom from someone who destroys meditation gardens as an entrance. Tell me, warrior, in your universe, do you serve a government? Fight for a cause? Or do you simply battle whoever strikes your fancy, consequences be damned? The question hit closer to home than Dooku probably realized. Goku had spent most of his life fighting for personal reasons, to protect friends, to test himself against strong opponents, to pursue his own growth. Governments, politics, ideology, those had never really been his concern. I fight to protect people, Goku said after a pause. That's it. If someone's hurting innocents, I stop them. I don't really care about the politics. How convenient for the Jedi, Dooku sneered. A weapon without political complications. A warrior who can be pointed at the Separatist Alliance without questioning whether the Republic's cause is just. His holographic form leaned forward. But make no mistake, son Goku, the Jedi will use you. They will aim your power at their enemies and call it righteous. And when you've served your purpose, when the war is won or lost, they will cast you aside or bind you with their codes and restrictions. That's enough, Yoda interjected, his voice carrying unexpected steel. Come here to recruit, you did. Failed, you have. This conversation is over. One last thing. Dooku's eyes glinted. My master is most interested in meeting you, son Goku. He senses great potential in one so powerful yet so untouched by the Force. He believes you could benefit from his guidance. Your master is a Sith Lord, Ki-Adi-Mundi stated. A practitioner of the dark side. Why would we allow Goku anywhere near such corruption? Because I am not afraid of corruption, Goku said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. Where I'm from, I've faced gods of destruction, embodiments of evil, enemies who could literally erase me from existence. I've even fought someone who absorbed people and stole their power. But I'm still me. I'm still Goku. He looked directly at Dooku's hologram. If your master wants to meet me, I'll meet him. But if he tries to hurt people or make me do something wrong, I'll fight him. Simple as that. The council chamber erupted in protests, multiple masters speaking at once. Only Yoda remained silent, watching Goku with those ancient, calculating eyes. Dooku's smile returned, genuine this time. I will relay your message. How delightfully naive. My master will be most entertained. The hologram flickered. Until we meet, Golden Warrior. I suspect it will be sooner than the Jedi would prefer. The transmission ended. Mace rounded on Goku immediately. You cannot seriously be considering meeting with a Sith Lord. They are manipulators, corruptors. The dark side is insidious. Peace, Master Windu, Yoda interrupted, raising one three-fingered hand. Acting from fear, you are. Precisely what the dark side feeds upon. He studied Goku thoughtfully. Trust in the Force, we must. And perhaps, trust in this warrior's pure heart. Sense Dooku's darkness, did you? Goku nodded. Yeah. Something about him felt off. Angry underneath all that fancy talk. Like he's trying to convince himself as much as me. A perceptive observation, Obi-Wan admitted grudgingly. Dooku was once one of us, one of the greatest Jedi masters of his generation. His fall to the dark side was a tragedy that still haunts the Order. What made him fall? Goku asked. The council members exchanged uncomfortable glances. Finally, Mace answered. Disillusionment. Dooku saw the Senate's corruption, the Republic's failures. He believed the Jedi should take a more active role in governance, that our passivity enabled evil. When the council refused, he left the Order. Shortly after, the Sith found him. Or he found them, Yoda added darkly. The path to the dark side, easy it is. Quick power, it promises. Unlimited freedom from restraint. But consume you, it does. Until nothing remains but hunger and rage. Goku absorbed this quietly. In his universe, he'd seen good people go bad, Vegeta before his redemption, Piccolo before they became allies, even Gohan in alternate timelines where different choices led to darkness. Power didn't corrupt automatically, but it made corruption easier. And loneliness, pain, anger, those things could twist even the strongest warrior. I understand, he said finally. But I meant what I said. If this Sith Master wants to meet me, I'll meet him. Maybe I can beat some sense into him, like I did with Vegeta. It's not that simple, Obi-Wan began. A massive explosion rocked the temple. Alarms shrieked throughout the complex. Through the council chamber's windows, smoke rose from the temple's eastern wing. Starfighters screamed overhead, not Republic vessels, but tri-fighters with separatist markings. Impossible, Shakti breathed. Coruscant's planetary shields. We're sabotaged, Mace finished grimly, his comlink already in hand. All masters to defensive positions. This is not a drill. Goku moved to the window, watching the attacking ships wheel and dive through Coruscant's air traffic. People were dying down there, he realized. Civilians caught in the crossfire. His hands clenched into fists. Where are they attacking from? He asked quietly. Multiple vectors, Plo-kun reported, studying a tactical display. Droidekas on the lower levels, vulture droids in the air, and, his voice caught, a Providence-class destroyer just dropped out of hyperspace above the temple. General Grievous is aboard. Dooku's holographic warning suddenly made terrible sense. This wasn't an invasion. It was a test. The Separatists wanted to see what Goku would do, which side he would choose when the fighting started. Well, Anakin said, igniting his lightsaber with a savage grin, at least we're not bored anymore. Goku looked at the burning temple, at the Jedi preparing for battle, at the city below where innocent people were screaming. Politics, causes, Republic versus Separatists, all of that could wait. People needed help. And that was something Goku understood perfectly. Point me at the bad guys, he said simply. Let's go. The temple's eastern wing had become a war zone in minutes. Destroyer droids, droidekas, rolled through the corridors in their will forms, unfurling into tripod configurations and deploying energy shields. Their twin blasters spat crimson bolts that chewed through ancient stone and sent Padawans scrambling for cover. Above, vulture droids shrieked through the smoke, their laser cannons stitching lines of destruction across meditation balconies and training halls. Goku landed in the middle of the chaos without ceremony, having simply jumped from the council spire and fallen several hundred feet to the battle below. The impact cratered the marble floor, and a dozen droidekas immediately swiveled toward him, their mechanical vocabulators clicking in binary as they calculated firing solutions. They opened fire simultaneously. Goku stood still, arms crossed, as the blaster bolt struck him. Each impact created a small flash of light and a puff of smoke against his GI. When the barrage ended and the smoke cleared, he was completely unharmed, looking down at the scorch marks on his clothes with mild annoyance. "Ah man, and this GI was brand new," he complained. The droideka's processors briefly locked up, unable to reconcile their sensor data with observed reality. Their target should have been vaporized. Instead, he was worried about his outfit. Goku moved. His fist punched through the first droideka's shield as if it wasn't there, crumpling the mechanical body like tin foil. The second he kicked, sending it careening through 3 of its companions in a cascade of sparking metal. The remaining 7 attempted to recalibrate, but Goku was already among them, his movements a blur of devastating efficiency. In less than 5 seconds, the entire squad was reduced to smoking wreckage. "Impressive," a voice called from above. Goku looked up to see a figure descending on a cable, humanoid but wrong, with 4 arms and a body that was more machine than organic. Duranium plating covered his torso, and a tattered cape billowed behind him. But it was the eyes that caught Goku's attention, yellow, burning with barely contained rage and hunger. General Grievous, Supreme Commander of the Separatist droid army, landed with predatory grace. His 4 hands moved to his belt, drawing 4 lightsabers, trophies taken from Jedi he'd killed. The blades ignited in sequence, blue, green, green. Each one a life ended, a warrior defeated. "So you're the anomaly," Grievous said, his voice a mechanical rasp. "The golden warrior who cannot be sensed through the Force. Dooku ordered me to test you. I will enjoy adding your corpse to my collection. You kill Jedi?" Goku's tone shifted, the friendly warmth draining away. "How many?" "I've stopped counting." Grievous began to circle, his multiple arms creating overlapping patterns with the lightsabers. "I am a Jedi killer, crafted specifically to hunt and destroy your Force-wielding friends. I've studied their every form, exploited their every weakness. I am what they fear in the dark." "They're not my friends," Goku corrected quietly. "I just met them. But they're good people trying to protect others. And you," his hands clenched, "you sound like someone who kills for fun." "I kill because I excel at it." Grievous lunged, all 4 lightsabers converging in a quadruple strike that should have overwhelmed any defense. Goku caught 2 blades with his hands and blocked the other 2 with his forearms. The plasma edges burned against his skin. These weren't training sabers, these were real weapons set to kill. He felt genuine pain, more than from the training match, but his grip held firm. The lightsabers couldn't cut through, couldn't penetrate his ki-reinforced body. Grievous' eyes widened behind his mask. "Impossible. You should be severed." "These swords are really hot," Goku observed, his tone conversational despite the deadly situation. "Way hotter than the training ones. But I've been hit by attacks that could destroy planets. Your lightsabers are pretty cool, but they're not that strong." He pushed, and Grievous staggered backward despite his mechanical strength enhancements. The cyborg general snarled and attacked again, his 4 arms moving in a blur of strikes, feints, and combinations. It was beautiful in its way, a deadly dance perfected through hundreds of kills, every movement optimized for maximum lethality. Goku dodged everything, his body moving on pure instinct. He'd fought 4-armed opponents before, hell, he'd fought opponents with dozens of arms. Grievous was skilled, absolutely, but his movements followed patterns. Predictable patterns born from fighting Jedi who relied on lightsabers and force powers. "You're really good with those swords," Goku said, ducking under a decapitation strike. "But you're also really predictable. Every attack is designed to kill force users who fight a certain way." "I don't fight that way." "Then how do you fight?" Grievous demanded, frustration bleeding into his mechanical voice. "Like this." Goku's finger poked Grievous in the chest plate, a simple tap, barely more than a touch. The duranium armor crumpled inward. The cyborg general flew backward, crashing through a stone pillar and embedding himself in the wall 20 feet away. Around them, the battle raged. Clone troopers had arrived now, their white armor marked with unit designations as they exchanged fire with battle droids. Jedi Knights moved through the chaos, their lightsabers deflecting blaster bolts and cutting through metal opponents. Goku saw Anakin Skywalker fighting alongside his Padawan Ahsoka, their coordination flawless as they carved through a squad of super battle droids. Grievous extracted himself from the wall, his vocabulator coughing out static. "You dare. General." A tactical droid's voice crackled through his comlink. "The Golden Warrior's power exceeds projections. Count Dooku orders immediate withdrawal." This was a reconnaissance mission, not a... Grievous crushed the comlink in one mechanical hand. "I will not retreat from this. This warrior." Goku supplied helpfully. "Fighter. Really strong guy. Abomination." Grievous roared. He triggered something on his belt and his torso began to spin, all four lightsabers creating a deadly whirlwind of plasma. It was his ultimate technique, the attack that had killed dozens of Jedi, an unstoppable wheel of death that overwhelmed defenses through sheer continuous assault. Goku waited until Grievous was fully committed to the spin, then stepped forward and flicked the cyborg's forehead. The spinning stopped instantly. Grievous' optical sensors flickered, his entire body systems momentarily overloaded by the impact. When his vision cleared, he was lying on his back, all four lightsabers scattered across the floor, and Goku was standing over him with an expression of genuine curiosity. "You're part machine, part organic," Goku observed. "What happened to you? Were you always like this?" For a moment, something flickered in Grievous' eyes, not rage or hatred, but pain. Ancient pain from a past he rarely acknowledged. "I was, improved. Made stronger. Better than I was." "But you're not happy," Goku said quietly. "I can tell. You fight angry, like you're trying to prove something. That's not real strength. That's just, sad." The word struck deeper than any physical blow could have. Sad. This creature who'd killed so many Jedi, this terror of the Clone Wars, was being called sad by a warrior who defeated him without even transforming. Overhead, the Providence-class destroyer was retreating, its turbolasers providing covering fire as vulture droids broke off their attack runs. The Separatist forces were withdrawing, the test concluded. They'd learned what they needed to know about the Golden Warrior. Grievous activated his wrist-mounted grappling cable, preparing to escape. But he paused, looking back at Goku one last time. "You fight without hate, without fear." "How?" "Because I love fighting," Goku answered simply. "Not killing, fighting. Testing myself, getting stronger, protecting people I care about. Fighting for hate or revenge just makes you empty inside." He offered a hand to help Grievous up. "You could try it sometime. Fighting because you want to, not because you're angry." Grievous stared at the offered hand as if it were a live thermal detonator. Then he launched himself upward on his grapple cable, disappearing into the smoke and chaos without another word. Anakin appeared beside Goku, his lightsaber still ignited and his face showing the battle high of successful combat. "Did you just offer to help up the guy who was trying to kill you?" "He seemed like he needed it," Goku said, watching the cyborgs retreat. "Plus, I don't think he really wanted to fight me. His boss ordered him to." Anakin struggled for words. That's either the most naive or most wise thing I've ever heard. I honestly can't tell which. The battle was ending now. Clone troopers secured the perimeter while Jedi healers attended to the wounded. The attack had been surgical, focused, designed to test the temple's defenses and specifically to see what Goku would do. Casualties were surprisingly light, considering the firepower deployed. Mace Windu strode through the debris, his purple lightsaber finally deactivating. His eyes found Goku immediately. You fought alongside us. You chose to protect the temple. I chose to protect people, Goku corrected. The droids were hurting innocents. That made them bad guys. Simple choice. Nothing about this war is simple, Mace countered. But you have our gratitude nonetheless. He glanced at the scattered wreckage of droidekas, the Grievous-shaped hole in the wall. Though I'm beginning to understand why you called this your weakest form. You didn't even transform. Didn't need to, Goku said with a shrug. Grievous was strong, but not that strong. If I'd gone Super Saiyan, I might have accidentally brought down the whole building. He looked around at the damaged temple, guilt crossing his features. I should probably be more careful. You guys have really nice architecture here. Ahsoka approached, her mantle slightly singed but her eyes bright with excitement. That was incredible. You just destroyed those droidekas with your bare hands. Can you teach me how to do that? Ahsoka, don't bother Anakin started. Sure. Goku interrupted cheerfully. It's all about key control and focusing your energy. Though I don't know if it works the same way with this force thing you guys use. We could try though. Anakin and Mace exchanged glances, a silent conversation passing between them. This strange warrior had just proven himself in combat, demonstrated restraint despite overwhelming power, and was now offering to train a Padawan in his techniques. He was either the greatest asset or the greatest liability the Jedi Order had encountered in living memory. Possibly both. Obi-Wan joined the group, brushing dust from his robes. The Senate is in an uproar. A separatist attack on Coruscant itself is unprecedented. Chancellor Palpatine is demanding an explanation for how their ships penetrated our defenses. Sabotage, Mace said grimly. It has to be. Someone fed the separatists our shield frequencies, our patrol schedules. There's a spy in the Republic's highest levels. Or, Yoda added, appearing seemingly from nowhere despite his size, in the Jedi Temple itself. Trust no one completely, we must. Dark times, these are. Darker yet to become. Goku listened to all this, his brow furrowed in concentration. Politics, betrayal, hidden enemies, this was the stuff he'd always left to Bulma and the others to figure out. But even he could sense the wrongness here, the way everyone seemed to be fighting shadows instead of real enemies. This Dooku guy, Goku said slowly. He told his general to test me. He wanted to see what I'd do, whose side I'd pick. That means he's planning something bigger, right? Something where my power would matter. Almost certainly, Obi-Wan confirmed. The question is what? And more importantly, what his Sith master is planning. Dooku is powerful, but he's a pawn. The true threat remains hidden. Then I should meet this master, Goku said decisively. Figure out what he wants, what he's planning. Maybe fight him if he's as bad as you guys say. Absolutely not, Mace said immediately. The Sith are afraid of me, Goku interrupted, his voice quiet but certain. That's why they tested me today. They wanted to see if I was a threat. And now they know I am. He looked at each Jedi in turn. So either they'll try to kill me, recruit me, or avoid me. And I can work with any of those options. Yoda studied him for a long moment, those ancient eyes seeing something the others might have missed. The will of the Force, unclear it is. But perhaps this warrior's instincts, trust we should. Brought him here for a reason, the Force did. That reason, revealed it will be. As the Jedi began coordinating cleanup efforts and tending to the wounded, Goku stood amid the wreckage of his first real battle in this strange galaxy. He'd made his choice, thrown his lot in with the side that seemed to be protecting people. But Dooku's words lingered, questions about corruption and manipulation, about whether the Jedi were really the heroes they claimed to be. In the Senate district, Palpatine watched footage of the battle on a secure holoprojector, his expression neutral but his mind racing. The Golden Warrior was even more powerful than initial reports suggested. And worse, he seemed genuinely incorruptible, no anger to exploit, no fear to manipulate, no ambition to twist. Such beings were dangerous to carefully laid plans. They needed to be controlled, corrupted, or eliminated before they disrupted the grand design. The Sith Lord smiled thinly. Fortunately, he had centuries of dark side knowledge at his disposal, and one particular technique that might prove useful. After all, every warrior, no matter how pure, had darkness somewhere in their heart. It was simply a matter of finding it. 3 days after the attack, Chancellor Palpatine extended a formal invitation for Goku to visit the Senate building. The Jedi Council had debated the request for hours, Mace arguing against it, Yoda remaining cryptically neutral, Obi-Wan suggesting it might provide useful intelligence. In the end, they'd agreed, but with conditions. Anakin would accompany Goku as both guide and observer. The Senate building dominated Coruscant's government district, a massive dome that housed the representatives of thousands of worlds. Inside, repulsorpids floated in a vast circular chamber, each containing senators who debated legislation that affected trillions of lives. It was democracy on a galactic scale, grand and inspiring and, as Goku was quickly learning, incredibly boring. And the trade routes through the Perlenian sector require renegotiation given the recent separatist blockades, a senator was droning as Anakin led Goku through the observation gallery. I propose Amendment 773 to subsection 12 of the Commerce Regulation Act. Does it always go like this? Goku whispered. For hours, Anakin confirmed with barely concealed amusement. Sometimes days. Welcome to Republic democracy, where everything takes forever and nothing really changes. They passed through security checkpoints where red-armored Senate guards scanned them with suspicious efficiency. Goku noticed how the guards' hands never strayed far from their force pikes, how their eyes tracked his every movement. Word of the Golden Warrior had spread through every level of Coruscant's government. Palpatine's office occupied the Senate building's highest level, with panoramic views of the city planet stretching to every horizon. The Chancellor himself stood at the viewport when they entered, a grandfatherly figure in elegant robes, his face kind and his smile welcoming. "Ah, young Skywalker," Palpatine greeted warmly. "And you must be son Goku. Welcome, welcome. Please, sit. I've had my staff prepare refreshments." The office was tastefully decorated with art from across the galaxy, sculptures, paintings, artifacts that spoke of culture and refinement. Goku noticed a particular statue though, something dark and angular that made his skin prickle. It felt wrong somehow, like it was absorbing light rather than reflecting it. "Thank you for seeing me on such short notice," Palpatine continued, settling into his chair with practiced ease. "I wanted to personally express the Republic's gratitude for your actions during the recent attack. The Jedi informed me you were instrumental in repelling General Grievous." "I just helped out," Goku said, accepting a glass of something blue and sweet. "People were in danger. It wasn't really a choice. Wasn't it?" Palpatine leaned forward, his eyes sharp despite the grandfatherly demeanor. "You're not a citizen of the Republic. You have no stake in our war, no obligation to risk yourself for our causes. Yet you fought alongside the Jedi without hesitation. That speaks to remarkable character. Or remarkable naivety," Anakin added with a slight smirk, though his tone held affection. He'd spent the last 3 days training with Goku in the temple, sparring sessions that had left the Chosen One both humbled and inspired. "Perhaps both," Palpatine agreed genially. "But tell me, Goku, may I call you Goku, what do you think of our galaxy so far? You've seen the Jedi Temple, witnessed our conflicts. What impressions have you formed? It was a trap, Goku realized with surprising clarity. A question designed to reveal his allegiances, his biases, his vulnerabilities. Back home, he would have answered honestly without thinking. But 3 days with the Jedi had taught him that words mattered here, that politics was its own kind of battlefield. Everyone seems really stressed, he said finally. Like they're fighting a war nobody wants, for reasons nobody fully understands. The Jedi tell me the Separatists are bad, but Dooku said the Republic is corrupt. And from what I've seen, both sides use armies they didn't even ask their people about. Palpatine's expression flickered, just for an instant, something cold passing behind his eyes before the warmth returned. A perceptive observation. Yes, the Clone Wars have been complicated. The Separatists forced our hand, you understand. Their droid armies threatened peaceful worlds, and the Republic had to respond. The clone army was created, somewhat controversially, to meet that threat. Created how? Goku asked. Anakin mentioned something about them being grown in tubes. On Kamino, Anakin supplied. They're clones of a bounty hunter named Jango Fett. Genetically engineered for combat, trained from birth, absolutely loyal to the Republic. They're good men, I've fought beside them for 3 years now. But, he hesitated, glancing at Palpatine. But they were created without the Senate's knowledge or consent, Palpatine finished smoothly. Ordered by a Jedi Master who's since passed, using funds appropriated through channels that remain mysterious. It's one of many troubling aspects of this war. Sometimes I wonder if we've lost our way, compromised our values in the name of security. Yet you remain Chancellor, Goku noted. If things are so wrong, couldn't you fix them? Would that I could. Palpatine's sigh was heavy with manufactured regret. But I am bound by law, by procedure, by the 1,000 checks and balances that prevent any one person from wielding too much power. Even with emergency powers granted by the Senate, there are limits to what I can accomplish. The bureaucracy moves slowly, and our enemies exploit every delay. Goku studied the Chancellor, trying to sense what he was really feeling. But unlike with most people, Palpatine was hard to read. His energy was there, Goku could feel the life force, the presence, but it was muted somehow, wrapped in layers that made the true person difficult to perceive. You're hiding something, Goku said bluntly. The temperature in the room dropped. Anakin stiffened, his hand instinctively moving toward his lightsaber. Palpatine's smile froze, becoming something carved from ice rather than born from warmth. I beg your pardon, the Chancellor said softly. Your energy, Goku explained, unaware of the danger he was courting. It's all wrapped up, tucked away. Everyone else I've met here, Jedi, soldiers, even that Grievous guy, they're all open, easy to sense. But you're like a locked box. Why hide what you're feeling? For a long moment, Palpatine said nothing. Then he laughed, a dry sound that held no real humor. You truly cannot sense the Force, can you? How fascinating. What you're perceiving is simply my training in mental discipline, Goku. A lifetime in politics teaches one to guard their thoughts, control their expressions. If my opponents could sense my every emotion, I would have been devoured by the Senate years ago. It was a reasonable explanation. But something about it didn't quite fit, like a puzzle piece forced into the wrong space. The Jedi warned me about you, Palpatine continued, his tone shifting to something more dangerous. They said you were powerful but naive, strong but easily manipulated. I see now they were half right. You are strong, perhaps the strongest being I've ever encountered. But naive? He shook his head. No. You see too clearly for that. Is that a problem? Goku asked. That depends entirely on what you do with your clarity. Palpatine rose from his chair, moving to the viewport. This galaxy is dying, Goku. The Republic is rotting from within, the Jedi have become dogmatic and blind, and the Separatists offer only chaos and exploitation. War has consumed a generation. Trillions suffer while politicians debate procedure. So fix it, Goku said simply. How? Palpatine spun to face him, and for just an instant, his mask slipped. The grandfatherly Chancellor vanished, replaced by something ancient and hungry and utterly ruthless. The Senate won't grant me the authority I need. The Jedi Council undermines my decisions. The Separatists refuse every peace offering. Tell me, warrior, if you had the power to save trillions by sacrificing millions, would you do it? No, Goku answered immediately. Because I'd find a way to save everyone. There's always another way if you're strong enough to find it. Always. Palpatine's voice was silk over razors. What if the choice was absolute? What if saving the many required destroying the few? What if the only path to peace required embracing methods you found distasteful? Goku stood, his expression hardening. Then I'd get stronger until I could make a third choice. That's what I've always done. When the bad guys seemed too powerful, I trained harder. When the threat seemed impossible, I found new transformations. Power isn't about making hard choices, it's about making hard choices unnecessary. The philosophy of someone who's never truly failed, Palpatine observed coldly. How wonderful to be so powerful that morality remains simple. But most beings aren't like you, Goku. Most of us must make compromises, accept necessary evils, do what must be done even when it sickens us. Then maybe you need better options, Goku countered. Or better people offering them. The silence that followed was absolute. You see too clearly for that. Is that a problem? Goku asked. That depends entirely on what you do with your clarity. Palpatine rose from his chair, moving to the viewport. This galaxy is dying, Goku. The Republic is rotting from within, the Jedi have become dogmatic and blind, and the Separatists offer only chaos and exploitation. War has consumed a generation. Trillions suffer while politicians debate procedure. So fix it, Goku said simply. How? Palpatine spun to face him, and for just an instant, his mask slipped. The grandfatherly Chancellor vanished, replaced by something ancient and hungry and utterly ruthless. The Senate won't grant me the authority I need. The Jedi Council undermines my decisions. The Separatists refuse every peace offering. Tell me, warrior, if you had the power to save trillions by sacrificing millions, would you do it? No, Goku answered immediately. Because I'd find a way to save everyone. There's always another way if you're strong enough to find it. Always. Palpatine's voice was silk over razors. What if the choice was absolute? What if saving the many required destroying the few? What if the only path to peace required embracing methods you found distasteful? Goku stood, his expression hardening. Then I'd get stronger until I could make a third choice. That's what I've always done. When the bad guys seemed too powerful, I trained harder. When the threat seemed impossible, I found new transformations. Power isn't about making hard choices, it's about making hard choices unnecessary. The philosophy of someone who's never truly failed, Palpatine observed coldly. How wonderful to be so powerful that morality remains simple. But most beings aren't like you, Goku. Most of us must make compromises, accept necessary evils, do what must be done even when it sickens us. Then maybe you need better options, Goku countered. Or better people offering them. The silence that followed was absolute. Anakin looked between them, sensing the confrontation beneath the words, the clash of worldviews that neither man would concede. Finally, Palpatine's smile returned, though it no longer reached his eyes. You remind me of the Jedi at their best, before the war complicated their philosophy. Absolute in your morality, unshakable in your convictions. It's admirable. Truly. He returned to his desk, shuffling datapads with dismissive efficiency. But this galaxy will test you, son Goku. It will present you with choices that make your philosophy seem childish. And when that day comes, I wonder if you'll maintain your certainty. "I guess we'll find out," Goku said evenly. As Anakin led him out of the office, Goku felt the Chancellor's eyes on his back, felt the weight of that hidden presence, that locked box energy he couldn't quite decipher. Whatever Palpatine was hiding, it was big. And it felt wrong in the same way Frisia had felt wrong, the way Majin Buu had felt wrong. Like something pretending to be human while harboring something monstrous beneath. "That was intense," Anakin muttered once they were in the corridor. "The Chancellor's usually more diplomatic. You really got under his skin." "He was testing me," Goku said. "Trying to see if I could be corrupted, manipulated, or scared." When none of that worked, he got annoyed. He glanced at Anakin. "You trust him?" Anakin hesitated, a telling pause. "He's been a mentor to me since I was a Padawan. When the Council treated me like a child, Palpatine saw my potential. He's helped me navigate politics, given me advice the Jedi wouldn't." Another pause. "But lately? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he's trying to turn me against the Council. Little comments, small suggestions. Nothing overt, but you feel it," Goku finished. "That wrongness. Like something's not quite right." "The Council thinks I'm too close to him," Anakin admitted. "They've warned me to maintain distance, to remember that he's a politician first. But he's been there for me when no one else was. That has to count for something." Goku thought about that. Loyalty, friendship, gratitude, those were important. But so was truth. And the truth was that Palpatine made his instincts scream, made every battle-honed sense he possessed raise warning flags. Before he could voice this, a Senate guard approached at a run. "General Skywalker. Emergency transmission from the temple. Master Yoda requests your immediate return. The Separatists have launched a major offensive in the Outer Rim. Multiple systems are under attack." Anakin's expression shifted instantly from contemplative to focused. "Where?" "Felucia, Megiddo, and Salukami. Simultaneous strikes. Count Dooku is personally leading the Felucia assault." The guard handed over a data pad with tactical displays. "Master Windu is assembling strike teams now." "Felucia," Anakin breathed. "That's a major agricultural world. If they take it, they can starve out half the mid-rim." He looked at Goku. "Looks like philosophy discussions are over. We've got a war to fight." Goku nodded, already feeling the familiar pre-battle anticipation building. "Will I see this Dooku guy again?" "If we deploy to Felucia, absolutely. And this time, he won't just be testing you through a hologram. He'll bring his full power to bear." Anakin's expression was grim. "Dooku's one of the most dangerous duelists in the galaxy. He's killed dozens of Jedi, crippled hundreds more. Even masters treat him with extreme caution." "Good," Goku said, his scion blood singing at the prospect. "I wanted a real fight anyway." As they rushed back toward the temple, neither noticed the figure watching from Palpatine's window. The Chancellor stood in the shadows, his face twisted into something that was no longer remotely human. Yellow eyes glowed with dark side power, and his fingers crackled with barely restrained force lightning. "So," Darth Sidious murmured to himself, "the warrior cannot be corrupted through words or temptation. He sees through deception with that strange energy of his. How inconvenient." His smile was predatory. "But every warrior has a weakness. Family, friends, pride, fear of inadequacy. I simply need to discover which lever will move this particular mountain." He activated a secure holofrequency. Count Dooku's image appeared, kneeling in holographic blue. "My master," Dooku greeted. "The Golden Warrior will likely accompany the Jedi to Felucia," Sidious said without preamble. "I want him tested further. Not killed, not yet. I want to see how he responds to genuine moral dilemmas, to choices with no good outcomes. Break his certainty, Dooku. Show him that this galaxy is more complex than his simple philosophy allows." And if he proves unbreakable? Sidious's smile widened, revealing teeth. Then we'll discover if he can survive Order 66 when the time comes. Even the strongest warrior falls when the entire galaxy turns against him. The hologram faded, leaving Sidious alone with his plans and his patience. The Clone Wars were his masterpiece, a web of manipulation that had taken decades to weave. One powerful outsider wouldn't unravel everything. He would ensure that. One way or another. The Republic assault ship broke through Felucia's atmosphere in a storm of re-entry fire and anti-aircraft bursts. Goku pressed his face against the viewport, watching the planet resolve from orbit into a world unlike anything he'd imagined. Massive fungal forests stretched across continents in riots of bioluminescent color, purples, blues, greens that pulsed with their own alien light. The air itself seemed alive, thick with spores and moisture that turned every vista into a fever dream. Beautiful, isn't it? Obi-Wan said, checking his lightsaber for the third time. Also incredibly deadly. Felucia's entire ecosystem is designed to dissolve and consume organic matter. The locals have adapted, but off-worlders need environmental suits for extended exposure. I'll be fine, Goku said, already sensing the planet's strange vitality. The whole world hummed with life energy, dense and chaotic. It reminded him of the deepest jungles on Earth, but amplified 100-fold. The assault ship's hold contained 200 clone troopers of the 501st Legion, Anakin's personal unit. Their armor bore blue markings, and despite being genetically identical, Goku had learned to distinguish them by stance, voice, personality. Captain Rex stood near the deployment ramp, his modified helmet tucked under one arm, his expression focused. 2 minutes to drop zone, Rex announced. Intel says separatist forces are concentrated around the processing facility on the northern plateau. Count Dooku was sighted there personally, along with a full droid battalion and at least 3 Munificent-class frigates in low orbit providing fire support. Typical Dooku, Anakin muttered. He always picks defensible positions and dares us to come after him. He glanced at Goku. You ready for this? Real combat, not a training exercise. I was born ready, Goku said with a grin. Though I gotta ask, why do you guys always use ships? Couldn't you just jump down from orbit? Obi-Wan's eyebrow arched. Goku, atmospheric re-entry temperatures reach thousands of degrees. Even with the Force, we'd burn up long before reaching the ground. Oh. That's a you problem, I guess. Goku moved toward the closed deployment ramp. I'm gonna go ahead, scout things out. You guys follow when you land. Wait, what are you? Anakin started. Goku punched through the sealed ramp, creating a Goku-shaped hole that immediately depressurized the hold. Emergency klaxons wailed as he jumped out into open sky, 10,000 feet above Felucia's fungal forests. Wind screamed past as he fell, his GI whipping around him, the ground rushing up with fatal speed. This, he thought happily, was more like it. He'd been cooped up in the temple for days, sparring in controlled environments, holding back to avoid destroying expensive training facilities. But here, falling through alien skies toward a real battle, he could finally cut loose. His ki flared golden for just a moment, not a full transformation, just enough to arrest his descent, and he landed on the plateau's edge with an impact that sent shockwaves through the fungal ground. The separatist processing facility sprawled before him, a ugly industrial complex carved into Felucia's natural beauty. Smokestacks belched toxins into the pristine air while conveyor systems harvested the planet's unique spores for pharmaceutical processing. Hundreds of battle droids patrolled the perimeter, their blasters ready, their vocabulators clicking in binary communication. And standing on the facility's central platform, hands clasped behind his back, Count Dooku waited. Punctual, Dooku called out as Goku approached. The Jedi won't arrive for another 8 minutes, yet here you are. Tell me, do you always rush headlong into enemy territory without reconnaissance or support? Usually, Goku admitted, walking forward with his hands in his pockets. Why waste time? You're the guy I need to talk to. talk? Dooku's expression showed genuine surprise. After our last conversation, after Grievous' report of your power, you think we have more to discuss? You used to be a Jedi, Goku said, stopping about 20 feet away. Master Windu told me. You were one of the greatest, then you left. Why? Dooku regarded him for a long moment, his elegant features betraying nothing. Then, surprisingly, he answered. Because the Jedi Order is a lie, son Goku. They claim to serve the light, to be guardians of peace and justice. But they've become the Republic's enforcers, legitimizing a corrupt government's worst excesses. I spent 70 years watching them compromise their principles, watching them fail the very people they swore to protect. So you joined the side that uses droid armies to invade planets? I joined the side willing to acknowledge reality, Dooku corrected coldly. The Republic is dying. The Jedi are blind. The only way forward is to tear down the old system and build something better from the ruins. Yes, that requires war. Yes, beings will suffer. But their suffering will end. The Republic's corruption is eternal. Goku tilted his head, considering. You actually believe that? You're not just making excuses, you really think you're doing the right thing. As do the Jedi. As does everyone in this miserable war. Dooku drew his curved lightsaber, the red blade igniting with a snap hiss that echoed across the plateau. But I didn't orchestrate this meeting for philosophy, warrior. I'm here to show you what your precious Jedi won't, that power without purpose is meaningless, and purpose without the will to act is cowardice. He struck without warning. Dooku was fast, faster than Grievous, faster than any Jedi Goku had sparred with. His style was refined, elegant, every movement economical and precise. Makashi, the dueling form, perfected over 7 decades of practice. His red blade carved through the space where Goku had been standing, the plasma edge leaving scorched trails in the air. Goku dodged, his instincts reading the attack patterns. Red lightsaber. Master Yoda said red means dark side. Is that true? The Sith use synthetic crystals that produce red blades, Dooku confirmed, pressing his attack. And yes, I am Sith. Darth Tyrannus, though I prefer my birth name. His blade moved in a blur, thrust, slash, riposte, each strike aimed at vital points. Does that frighten you? Not really. Goku blocked the next strike with his forearm, the red blade scraping against his Kyrian-forced skin. You're strong, but you're not scary strong. And you don't feel evil, not like some enemies I've fought. You feel sad. And angry. But not evil. The observation made Dooku falter for just a heartbeat. In that opening, Goku could have struck. Instead, he just stepped back, giving the Count space to recover. You could have attacked, Dooku noted. Didn't feel right, Goku said. You're confused, not evil. There's a difference. Confused? Dooku's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. I am the most clear-sighted being in this galaxy. I see the truth that everyone else refuses to acknowledge. The Republic is doomed. The Jedi are obsolete. And my master. He stopped abruptly, as if he'd said too much. Your master, Goku repeated. The Sith Lord the Jedi keep talking about. The one pulling the strings. Where is he? Closer than anyone suspects, Dooku said with a thin smile. But you won't find him, Golden Warrior. He spent 50 years perfecting his concealment, weaving plans within plans. By the time his identity is revealed, it will be far too late. Around them, battle droids were deploying, hundreds of them, forming firing lines and activating shield generators. In the sky, the Republic assault ships were visible now, descending through the clouds with clone troopers ready to deploy. The real battle was about to begin. Last chance, Dooku said. Join me. Join the Separatists. Together, we could end this war in weeks. Your power combined with my master's cunning could reshape the galaxy into something better than this corrupt failure. And the people who die in the reshaping? Goku asked quietly. Do they get a choice? No one gets a choice, Dooku replied. That's the lesson you've yet to learn. We are all prisoners of history, of circumstance, of forces beyond our control. The only freedom is in choosing which side of inevitability you stand on. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard, Goku said genuinely. Where I come from, we make our own choices. We fight our own battles. Yeah, gods and destroyers exist, but they don't control everything. We're free because we choose to be. Then you've lived in a kinder universe than this one. Dooku raised his free hand, and Goku felt it, that force energy gathering, condensing into something violent. Allow me to educate you in this galaxy's harsh realities. Lightning erupted from Dooku's fingertips. Blue-white electrical energy arced across the space between them, more intense than anything the training sabers had produced. This was Force Lightning, the dark side's most aggressive power, designed to torture and kill. It struck Goku full on, wrapping around his body in crackling tendrils. It hurt. Not like the lightsabers, which his ki-enhanced body could mostly resist. This was different, energy that targeted the nervous system directly, that bypassed physical defenses to attack the body's electrical systems. Goku gritted his teeth, his muscles spasming involuntarily. You feel it now, Dooku said, intensifying the assault. Pain without physical damage. Agony without wounds. This is the dark side's gift, power that transcends mere physical law. Through the pain, Goku forced himself to think. This lightning was energy, just like ki blasts. It had a source, a flow, a pattern. And if it was energy, he could. He absorbed it. Not completely, he didn't have that kind of control over this strange force power, but enough. His ki rose automatically, meeting the lightning halfway, creating a buffer that reduced the pain from excruciating to manageable. The electricity still crackled around him, but it was weakening, being drained by his body's natural energy system. Dooku's eyes widened. Impossible. Force lightning cannot be absorbed by non-force users. It violates every principle of. Goku punched him. Not hard, not even close to hard by his standards, but enough to send the Count flying backward into a battle droid squad. The droids collapsed like bowling pins, and Dooku rolled to a stop, his elegant robes scorched and torn. That really hurt, Goku said, rubbing his arms where the lightning had struck. Way more than those metal guys' blasters. Is that your strongest attack? Dooku rose, and for the first time, genuine uncertainty crossed his features. You absorbed force lightning. No Jedi can do that without specialized training. How? Same way I absorb any energy attack, Goku explained. I mean, it was different from ki blasts, but the principle's the same. Energy is energy. You just gotta know how to work with it. Around them, the battle was joined in earnest now. Republic gunships roared overhead, deploying clone troopers who immediately engaged the droid forces. Lightsabers ignited across the battlefield, Anakin and Obi-Wan leading the charge, Ahsoka carving through super battle droids with her dual blades. The air filled with blaster fire, explosions, and the sounds of war. But in their small circle, Dooku and Goku remained focused on each other. You're wasted on the Jedi, Dooku said finally. They'll never understand you. Your power, your philosophy, it's all too foreign to their dogma. But my master could teach you things about the Force that the Jedi don't even know exist. Dark and light are just labels. Real power transcends such simple categories. Maybe, Goku acknowledged. But I've seen what happens when people chase power for its own sake. They lose themselves. Become empty. Your lightning. It was strong, yeah. But it was also hollow. Like you're not really living, just going through motions. The word struck deeper than any physical blow. Dooku's mask cracked, just for an instant, and Goku saw the old man beneath, tired, disillusioned, trapped in a web of choices he could no longer escape. "I've fought monsters," Goku said quietly. "I've fought demons, gods, and destroyers. Some of them enjoyed killing. Some did it because they had to. But all of them faced me directly." He tightened his grip slightly. "You hide behind armies and orbital strikes. That's not strength. That's cowardice." Dooku struggled uselessly, the Force doing nothing against the absolute physical superiority holding him. "You can't kill me, not in you." "I'm not going to kill you," Goku said, releasing him. Dooku collapsed, gasping. "But I am going to stop you. Whatever you and your master are planning, whoever this Sith Lord is, I'll find him. And when I do, I'll make him answer for every person who died because of your war." He turned away, preparing to rejoin the main battle and help the clone troopers. Behind him, Dooku's voice was a ragged whisper. "You'll fail. My master is beyond your understanding. And when Order 66 comes, when the Jedi fall, you'll realize how naive you truly were." Goku paused. "What's Order 66? But Dooku was gone, retreating via a personal shuttle that materialized from nowhere. The remaining droid forces began withdrawing, their tactical programming recognizing the battle was lost. Across the plateau, Republic forces secured the facility. Anakin jogged over, his face flushed with combat. "Did you just let Dooku escape?" "Yeah," Goku admitted. "I probably should have caught him. But he said something weird, something about Order 66. "What's that?" Anakin's expression went blank. "I don't know. Never heard of it. Maybe some separatist contingency plan." He shook his head. "We can ask the Council when we report back. For now, we've won. Felucia is secure." But victory felt hollow as Goku watched medics tending to wounded clones, as he counted the bodies being loaded onto transport ships. This war wasn't like the battles he was used to. There were no Dragon Balls to wish people back, no way to undo the dead. Every casualty was permanent. And somewhere out there, hidden among billions of beings, a Sith Master was orchestrating all of it. Goku looked up at Felucia's strange sky, at the bioluminescent spores drifting on alien winds. He'd come to this galaxy by accident, gotten caught up in someone else's war. But now it was personal. He'd find this puppet master. And when he did, they'd have a conversation about the value of life, one way or another. The Jedi Temple's council chamber felt different when Goku entered this time, heavier, more tense. Emergency session, they'd called it. 3 days after Felucia, and the war had only intensified. Mygeeto had fallen despite Jedi intervention. Salakami remained contested. And across 50 systems, separatist forces were pressing advantages that seemed too coordinated to be coincidental. Someone was accelerating the conflict. Pushing toward some endgame. Order 66, Mace Windu repeated, his expression grave. "You're certain Dooku mentioned it specifically?" Right before he escaped, Goku confirmed. He stood in the center again, but this time no one questioned his presence. 3 battles in 3 days had earned him a place in their councils. He said, "When it comes, the Jedi will fall." "What is it?" The council members exchanged troubled glances. Finally, Yoda spoke. "Known to us, this phrase is not. But disturbing, the context is. A contingency plan against the Jedi Order, it suggests. We've searched the Republic military database," Obi-Wan added, stroking his beard. "There are numbered orders from 1 to 150, protocol commands for the clone army. Order 65 is arrest the Chancellor for treason. Order 37 is mass civilian evacuation. But Order 66, he trailed off, frustrated. The file is encrypted at the highest level. Even with Jedi clearance, we can't access it. Then break the encryption, Goku said simply. If it's dangerous, you need to know what it is. It's not that simple, Ki-Adi-Mundi explained. These protocols are hardwired into clone trooper conditioning. Breaking military encryption would be seen as an act of rebellion against the Republic itself. The Senate would. The Senate doesn't matter if the Jedi are all dead, Goku interrupted bluntly. You guys keep trying to follow rules made by people who might be your enemies. Where I come from, when someone threatens you, you deal with the threat first and worry about politics later. We are not like you, Mace said sharply. The Jedi serve the Republic. We cannot simply ignore chain of command because of vague threats from a Sith Lord. Even when that Sith Lord has been right about everything else. Goku challenged. Dooku predicted the war. He knew about me before the Jedi did. He's always 3 steps ahead. Maybe you should start taking his warning seriously. The chamber fell silent. It was Shakti who finally spoke, her voice measured. There is wisdom in the outsider's perspective. We have been so focused on prosecuting the war that perhaps we've neglected to question its fundamental nature. Who benefits from the Jedi being scattered across the galaxy, away from Coruscant, separated into small vulnerable units? The Sith, Plo Koon answered immediately. If the dark side seeks to destroy the Jedi Order, this war accomplishes that goal incrementally. Every battle costs us knights and Padawans. Every deployment stretches us thinner. And the clones, Obi-Wan added slowly, his face paling as the implications crystallized. We trust them absolutely. We fight beside them, rely on them. If somehow their loyalty could be turned, if Order 66 is a command to attack Jedi, then we would be destroyed by our own army, Mace finished grimly. Scattered across the galaxy, surrounded by soldiers programmed to kill us. It would be the perfect trap. Yoda closed his eyes, his ears drooping. Foresee this, I could not. Blind, we have been. Arrogant. So certain of our righteousness that we failed to see the snare closing around us. So what do we do? Ahsoka spoke up from her position beside Anakin. She'd been silent until now, but her voice carried steel. If the clone army is a weapon aimed at us, how do we defend against it? We can't abandon the Republic, Anakin said immediately. The clones have fought beside us for 3 years. Rex, Cody, all of them, they're not mindless droids. They're people. We can't just assume they'd turn on us. Not assume, Goku corrected. Test. You've got all this technology, right? Scan their brains, check for hidden programming, figure out if this Order 66 thing is real. Medical scans of every clone in the Grand Army? Ki-Adi-Mundi shook his head. The logistics alone would take months. And if we're wrong, if this is paranoia, we'd destroy trust between Jedi and clones permanently. And if you're right and do nothing, Goku countered, you'll all die. Seems like an easy choice to me. Mace leaned forward, his knuckles white on his armrest. You speak of easy choices because you're powerful enough to survive betrayal. Most Jedi are not like you. We cannot punch through dreadnought hulls or absorb force lightning. If the clone army turns against us, thousands of Jedi will die before we can mount any defense. Then I'll help, Goku said simply. When this Order 66 happens, if it happens, I'll be there. I'm fast enough to reach anywhere in the galaxy in minutes if I really push it. Just tell me where you need me. You would stand with the Jedi? Yoda asked, his ancient eyes studying Goku intently. Even knowing that our cause is complicated, that the Republic we serve is corrupt, that victory may be impossible. I'm not standing with the Jedi or the Republic, Goku clarified. I'm standing against people who use others as weapons. These clones, you said they're people, right? Which means someone programmed them without their consent, turned them into time bombs aimed at their friends. That's wrong. So yeah, I'll fight against it. A soft chime interrupted the discussion. A hologram flickered to life in the chamber's center, Chancellor Palpatine, his expression grave. Masters, Palpatine greeted. Forgive the intrusion, but urgent news from the Outer Rim. General Grievous has been located. Our intelligence indicates he's hiding on Utapau, coordinating separatist operations from a sinkhole city. This may be our best opportunity to capture or eliminate the separatist military commander and deal a decisive blow to their cause. Every Jedi in the chamber tensed. Grievous was a priority target, the cyborg general who'd killed dozens of Jedi, who'd evaded capture for years. His elimination would cripple separatist military operations. It was also exactly the kind of mission that would scatter Jedi forces across the galaxy, leaving them vulnerable. Interesting timing, Obi-Wan murmured, too quietly for the hologram to pick up. I recommend deploying our finest warriors, Palpatine continued. Master Kenobi, given your experience with Grievous, you would be ideal. And of course, if the Council deems it appropriate, our new ally's son Goku could prove invaluable. Goku felt it then, that same wrongness he'd sensed in Palpatine's office, amplified now. The Chancellor's energy was still wrapped up, still hidden, but there was eagerness beneath the concern. Excitement masked as duty. I'll go, Goku said before the Council could respond. Not because you're ordering me to, but because I want to meet this Grievous guy again. We didn't get to finish our conversation on Coruscant. Splendid, Palpatine said, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. Master Yoda, will you approve this mission? Yoda was silent for a long moment, his gaze distant as if consulting the Force itself. Finally, he nodded slowly. Approve it, I do. But caution, I urge. Into the spider's web, we may be walking. Trust only in the Force, and in each other. The hologram faded, leaving the Council in troubled silence. This is a trap, Mace said flatly. Everything about this screams trap. The timing is too perfect, the opportunity too good. And yet we must pursue it, Ki-Adi-Mundi countered. If we ignore credible intelligence about Grievous, we fail in our duty to end this war. The Separatists will continue to ravage worlds while we hide in the temple-fearing shadows. Not shadows, Goku interjected. One specific shadow. This Sith Master. He's the one pulling strings, right? So why are we chasing Grievous instead of finding him? Because we don't know who he is, Obi-Wan said in frustration. We've searched for 3 years. The dark side clouds our vision, makes him invisible to the Force. He could be anyone, a senator, a corporate executive, a military officer. Without more concrete evidence, we're paralyzed. Goku thought about Palpatine, about that locked box energy, about how the Chancellor always seemed to know things before anyone else. But accusing the leader of the Republic without proof would be insane. Even he understood that much about politics. Then I'll make him show himself, Goku decided. If he's hiding, I'll hit him so hard he can't hide anymore. I'll be loud, obvious, impossible to ignore. And when he comes for me, because guys like that always do, I'll be ready. That's your plan? Anakin said incredulously. Make yourself bait. It's worked before, Goku said with a shrug. Cell tried to blow up Earth, so I teleported him to King Kai's planet. Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta, so I fought him until he couldn't hide behind his transformations anymore. Bad guys always reveal themselves when they're angry enough. This isn't Dragon Ball Z, Mace said sharply. This is reality. The Sith Master has orchestrated a galactic war, corrupted one of our greatest members, and hidden his identity for decades. He will not be baited by simple provocations. Then I'll make complicated provocations, Goku replied cheerfully. Come on. You guys are thinking too hard. Sometimes the best strategy is just punch the problem until it stops being a problem. Despite the dire circumstances, several council members found themselves suppressing smiles. There was something refreshing about Goku's straightforward approach, even if it was tactically questionable. Yoda rose from his chair, his Jimmer stick tapping against the floor. To Utapau, Master Kenobi and Goku will go. Find Grievous, eliminate him if possible. The rest of the council will remain on Coruscant, investigating this Order 66. And Goku, the ancient master, fixed him with an intense stare. If the Sith master reveals himself, do not face him alone. Whatever you believe about your power, the dark side is insidious. It corrupts, twists, destroys. Even the strongest warrior can fall. I'll be careful, Goku promised. But I won't let him hurt anyone else. That's non-negotiable. As the council dismissed, Anakin pulled Goku aside in the corridor. The Chosen One's face was troubled, his usual confidence shaken. You feel it too, don't you? Anakin said quietly. That something's wrong with all of this. The timing, the missions, the way everything keeps escalating. Yeah, Goku admitted. It feels like someone's herding you all into position. Like pieces on a game board. And you're willing to just play along. Anakin's voice carried an edge of desperation. Let them use you as bait while the rest of us scatter across the galaxy. I'm not playing along, Goku corrected. I'm changing the game. See, in fights, the person who controls the pace usually wins. Your Sith Master thinks he's in control, thinks he's 10 steps ahead. But what happens when someone doesn't follow the script? When someone's strong enough to just flip the whole board over? Anakin stared at him, then laughed, a short, bitter sound. You're either the bravest person I've ever met or the most insane. Maybe both. Probably both, Goku agreed easily. But hey, it's kept me alive so far. Well, mostly alive. I've died a couple times, but it worked out. You've died. Multiple times. It's a long story. Involves Dragon Balls, Otherworld, and a really angry pink blob. Point is, I don't stay dead. And I don't let bad guys win if I can help it. Goku's expression grew serious. You're Chancellor Palpatine. There's something off about him. I know you trust him, but... I know, Anakin interrupted quietly. I've been trying not to think about it, but I know. The way he talks about the Jedi, the things he suggests, it's like he's testing me. Seeing how far I'll go. He looked away. He told me once that the Jedi are holding me back, that my potential is being wasted. Part of me wonders if he's right. He's not, Goku said firmly. Power isn't about potential or being held back. It's about choosing what you fight for and who you protect. The Jedi might have some weird rules, but they're trying to do good. That matters more than raw strength. Easy for you to say, Anakin muttered. You're already stronger than anyone in the galaxy. You don't have masters telling you you're not ready, not good enough, too emotional, too reckless. I had Master Roshi, Goku countered. And King Kai. And Whis. All of them told me I was too reckless, too focused on fighting, not disciplined enough. But they trained me anyway because they saw what I was trying to protect. Your masters see that in you too. They just worry you'll forget it in the heat of battle. Anakin was quiet for a long moment. If this Order 66 is real, if the clones turn on us, promise me you'll protect Ahsoka. She's like a little sister to me. If something happens, if I'm not there. Nothing's going to happen, Goku said confidently. We're going to find this Sith Master, punch him in his stupid evil face, and end this war before anyone else dies. Trust me. I don't know if I can trust anyone anymore, Anakin admitted. But you? Yeah. I think I can trust you. They clasped forearms in the warrior's grip, two fighters from different universes bound by the same simple code: protect the innocent, stop the bad guys, never give up. It was enough. As Goku headed toward the hangar to join Obi-Wan for the journey to Utapau, he didn't notice the figure watching from a shadowed alcove. Palpatine stood motionless, his face hidden in darkness, his mind racing through calculations and contingencies. The Golden Warrior was becoming a liability. His simple philosophy was cutting through carefully constructed lies. His immunity to force manipulation made him unpredictable. And worst of all, he was making the Jedi question, making them think instead of simply reacting. Order 66 was already in motion, the command codes uploaded to every clone trooper's inhibitor chip, ready to activate at a single command. When it triggered, the Jedi would be slaughtered by the thousands. But this Goku. Sidious's yellow eyes glowed in the shadows. The Scion couldn't be everywhere at once. And when the betrayal came, when the galaxy burned, he would have to choose, save the Jedi, or chase the Sith Master. Either way, the plan would succeed. The Republic would become the Empire. The Jedi would fall. And if the Golden Warrior interfered too effectively, well, there were contingencies. Dark side techniques perfected over millennia. Ancient Sith artifacts that could corrupt even the purest soul. One way or another, Son Goku would kneel, or die. The Sith Lord smiled in the darkness, and the shadows seemed to smile with him. Utapau rose from the wasteland like a wound in reality, massive sinkholes plunging kilometers into the planet's crust, their walls lined with landing platforms and buildings that clung to vertical stone like mechanical barnacles. Wind howled through the canyons, carrying the cries of native Vericto lizards and the hum of starship engines. It was a world of depths and shadows, perfect for someone like Grievous to hide. Obi-Wan's starfighter descended toward the 10th level, where intelligence suggested the Separatist command center was located. Goku flew alongside without a ship, his body simply cutting through atmosphere at speeds that should have ignited the air around him. The clones piloting escort fighters had stopped questioning it after the first few jumps to hyperspace, some things you just accepted about the Golden Warrior. Remember, Obi-Wan's voice crackled through the comlink Goku wore on his belt. This is reconnaissance first. We verify Grievous' location, call in reinforcements, then strike with overwhelming force. No charging in alone. Sure, Goku replied, though his tone suggested he was already planning to charge in alone. I'm serious, Goku. Grievous is. The cyborg general exploded from a hidden hangar bay, riding a wheel bike at impossible speed. His 4 arms spread wide, lightsabers ignited, mechanical voice bellowing a challenge that echoed through the sinkhole. Kenobi. I've been waiting for you. Or we could skip the reconnaissance, Obi-Wan said dryly, pulling his fighter into an evasive roll as Grievous' spike-mounted cannons opened fire. Goku accelerated, intercepting Grievous mid-flight. The impact sent both combatants careening into the sinkhole's wall, shattering stone and creating an avalanche of rock that cascaded into the depths below. They separated, Goku landing lightly on a narrow platform while Grievous' bike reconfigured into combat mode. You, Grievous snarled, his yellow eyes focusing on Goku with undisguised hatred. The anomaly. Count Dooku has sent new orders regarding you. Yeah. What's that? Goku asked, dropping into a ready stance. To kill you by any means necessary. Grievous' chest cavity opened, revealing a sophisticated explosive device, a thermal detonator scaled to industrial proportions. Even if it means destroying this entire installation. Wait, Obi-Wan began. Grievous activated it. The explosion consumed 3 levels of the sinkhole city in an instant. Fire and shrapnel erupted outward in an expanding sphere of destruction, vaporizing buildings and sending millions of tons of debris into freefall. Obi-Wan's fighter was caught in the blast wave, systems failing as he fought for control. Clone trooper gunships scattered like leaves in a storm. And in the center of the inferno, Goku stood untouched. The flames washed over him harmlessly, the shrapnel bouncing off his Kyrian-forced body like rain. When the initial blast cleared, he was still in his stance, completely unharmed but absolutely furious. People lived here, he said quietly, his voice cutting through the roar of secondary explosions. Civilians. Families. You just killed them to try and hurt me. Acceptable losses, Grievous replied, already retreating toward a hidden escape route. The Separatist cause requires. He never finished. Goku's fist caught him in the torso, the impact creating a sonic boom that shattered every remaining window in the sinkhole. Grievous duranium plating crumpled like tissue paper. His organic components, that small sack of vital organs keeping the cyborg alive, ruptured. He crashed through 7 levels of architecture before embedding himself in the bedrock at the sinkhole's bottom. Goku appeared beside him an instant later, his power flaring golden. Not a full transformation, he didn't need it, just enough to make his point absolutely clear. "I gave you a chance on Coruscant," Goku said, his turquoise eyes cold with barely restrained rage. "I tried to show you there was another way. But you chose this. You chose to murder innocent people because your boss told you to." Grievous coughed, hydraulic fluid leaking from his shattered chassis. "I am a soldier. I follow orders." "No," Goku corrected. "Soldiers protect people. You're just a weapon pointed at whoever your masters hate. And I'm done trying to save weapons." He raised his hand, energy gathering in his palm, a simple ki blast, nothing fancy, just enough to end this permanently. Grievous had killed dozens of Jedi, murdered countless civilians, and just tried to destroy an entire city. This wasn't a fight anymore. It was justice. "Goku, stop." Obi-Wan landed heavily on the platform, his robes singed and his face showing the strain of surviving the explosion. "Don't kill him. We need him alive for interrogation. He might know where Dooku is, where the separatist leaders are hiding." "He just murdered hundreds of people," Goku said, not lowering his hand. "Maybe thousands. The entire 3rd through 5th levels." "I know," Obi-Wan interrupted gently. "I know what he did. But killing him in cold blood makes you no better than him. The Jedi don't execute prisoners. I'm not a Jedi." The words hung in the smoky air between them. Goku's hand still glowed with gathered energy, his face showing an expression Obi-Wan had never seen before, not anger exactly, but something colder. Determination. The absolute certainty of someone who decided a line had been crossed. "No, you're not," Obi-Wan agreed quietly. "You're something else entirely. Something pure and powerful and uncompromising. But Goku, if you kill him like this, you prove Dooku right. You prove that power without mercy is just another form of tyranny." "Mercy?" Goku's voice cracked. "Those people he killed don't get mercy. They don't get second chances or trials or... And neither will anyone else if we don't learn what Grievous knows," Obi-Wan pressed. "The Sith Master is still out there. This war is still happening. Every moment we spend on revenge is a moment we're not spending stopping the real threat." Slowly, painfully, Goku lowered his hand. The gathered energy dissipated. He looked down at Grievous' broken form with something between pity and disgust. "You get to live," Goku told the cyborg. "But if I see you again, if you hurt anyone else, I won't hesitate. Understand?" Grievous' vocabulator crackled. "The Master already knows your weakness, warrior. You care too much." Before Goku could respond, clone troopers descended on cables from surviving gunships above. Commander Cody led the squad, his armor scorched but his weapon steady. "Generals. We've secured the perimeter. Civilian casualties are significant. Medical teams are en route but," he noticed Grievous. "Is that?" "General Grievous," Obi-Wan confirmed. "Restrain him and prepare for immediate evacuation. I want him on a Republic cruiser within the hour, maximum security." As the clones moved to secure the prisoner, Goku turned away, his fists clenched. He could still sense the dying, people trapped in rubble, others burned beyond recognition, families torn apart by an explosion intended solely to kill him. This was different from the battles on Earth. When Frisia destroyed a planet, it was obvious evil. When Cell threatened the world, you knew he was the enemy. But here, in this galaxy, the lines were blurred. Grievous was a monster, yes, but he was a monster created by this war. The clone troopers were good people, but they were tools of politicians who might be corrupt. The Jedi were heroes, but they served a republic that was rotting from within. Everything was complicated. And Goku hated complications. "You did the right thing," Obi-Wan said quietly, placing a hand on Goku's shoulder. "I know it doesn't feel like it, but you did." "The right thing would have been stopping him before he set off the bomb," Goku replied. "I was fast enough. I should've." "You can't save everyone," Obi-Wan interrupted. "That's the hardest lesson any warrior learns. We do our best, we fight with honor, but we cannot prevent every tragedy. If we could, there would be no need for warriors at all." A comlink chirped. Obi-Wan answered, his expression shifting from weary to alarmed as he listened. "Understood. We're returning immediately." "What is it?" Goku asked. "The Council is recalling all Jedi to Coruscant," Obi-Wan said grimly. "Master Windu discovered something about the Chancellor. Something that changes everything." The journey back to Coruscant took 3 hours at maximum hyperspace. Goku spent most of it meditating, not in the Jedi way, but in his own style, centering his ki and trying to process what he'd felt on Utapau. The anger, the desire for revenge, the way he'd almost killed Grievous not in combat but in execution. Was that wrong? The cyborg was a murderer. He'd shown no remorse, no hesitation. By any reasonable standard, he deserved death. But Obi-Wan's words echoed, "Power without mercy is tyranny." Back home, Goku had let villains go before. Vegeta, Piccolo, even Frieza eventually. Some had become allies. Others had simply left. But that was different. There were Dragon Balls, ways to undo damage, to bring people back. Here, death was permanent. Mistakes were forever. Deep thoughts. Anakin's voice crackled over the comlink. He'd joined their formation with his own squadron of fighters. "Just thinking about whether I made the right choice," Goku admitted. "Letting Grievous live." "You did," Anakin said immediately. "Trust me, I've been exactly where you were. Staring at an enemy who deserves to die, wanting to just end it. But that's not who we are. The moment we start executing prisoners, we become the very thing we're fighting against. Even when the prisoner would kill millions given the chance. Even then." Anakin's voice was firm. "That's what separates us from them. The Sith believe in absolute power, in doing whatever it takes to win. We believe in principles that transcend expediency. It's harder. It costs more. But it's right." Goku absorbed that, filing it away with all the other lessons this galaxy had taught him. Power without wisdom. Strength without mercy. The ways good people could become monsters if they forgot why they were fighting. When they emerged from hyperspace above Coruscant, something felt wrong immediately. The planet's orbital defenses were on full alert. Venator-class star destroyers formed defensive perimeters around the Senate District and Temple. Fighter patrols screamed past in tight formations, their weapons armed and targeting systems active. This wasn't standard security. This was war footing. What happened? Obi-Wan demanded over the command channel. Master Windu confronted the Chancellor, Commander Cody reported from the flagship. "There's been some kind of incident in Palpatine's office. No details yet, but..." The signal cut to static. Then, from every clone trooper comlink simultaneously, a voice that Goku recognized, Chancellor Palpatine, but different. Cold. Absolute. Inhuman. Execute Order 66. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the galaxy exploded into violence. In his fighter's cockpit, Anakin watched in horror as his gunship escort suddenly opened fire on Ahsoka's transport. The Padawan's desperate evasion barely saved her life. Across Coruscant's orbit, clone troopers turned on their Jedi commanders with mechanical precision. Ships exploded. Escape pods launched. Bodies tumbled into the void. Obi-Wan's squadron leader, Cody, who'd fought beside him for 3 years, calmly locked weapons on the Jedi Master's fighter and pulled the trigger. Only Goku's intervention saved Obi-Wan's life. He'd been flying alongside the formation and simply grabbed the Jedi's entire starfighter, ripping it free of the targeting solution and accelerating toward the temple so fast the pursuing shots never had a chance to track. "What's happening?" Obi-Wan shouted, his fighter's canopy cracking from the stress of impossible acceleration. "Why are the clones?" "Order 66, Goku said grimly, understanding crystallizing with horrifying clarity. "The contingency Dooku warned about. This is it. The trap just closed." Across the galaxy, in 1,000 systems, 10,000 Jedi died in the space of minutes. Betrayed by the soldiers they'd trusted, killed by the army they'd led. Younglings slaughtered in training temples. Masters gunned down on battlefields. Padawans executed while pleading for their lives. The Jedi Order, guardians of peace and justice for 1,000 generations, was ending not with a battle but with a betrayal. And somewhere in the Senate district, Darth Sidious laughed. The aftermath of Order 66 stretched across months. With Sidious imprisoned and his dark side influence severed, the inhibitor chips in the clone troopers' heads lost their override control. Thousands of clones woke from their forced compliance to discover they'd murdered their Jedi commanders, brothers and sisters they'd fought beside for 3 years. The psychological trauma was devastating. Some deserted. Others took their own lives. Many simply stood in shocked silence, trying to comprehend what they'd been forced to do. The Jedi Order survived, but barely. Of the 10,000 Jedi who'd served during the Clone Wars, fewer than 200 remained. Younglings had been slaughtered. Temples across the galaxy lay in ruins. Masters who'd guided the Order for centuries were gone, their wisdom lost forever. Yoda abdicated leadership to a council of survivors, Obi-Wan, Shaak-Ti, Plo Koon, and others who'd lived through the betrayal. Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, stood trial before the remnants of the Jedi Council and the reconstituted Senate. His fall and partial redemption became a symbol of the war's moral complexity. Some called for execution. Others argued for mercy. In the end, Goku's testimony about Sidious's manipulation swayed the decision: exile to a remote world, his power sealed by Jedi techniques, forbidden from ever returning to known space. Padme gave birth to twins, Luke and Leia, before following her husband into exile, choosing love over the easier path of abandonment. The Separatist alliance collapsed without Sidious's orchestration. Count Dooku, when informed of his master's capture, surrendered himself to Republic custody. In his trial testimony, he revealed decades of manipulation, of how Sidious had cultivated his disillusionment and twisted it into service. The revelations shocked the galaxy. Dooku was sentenced to life imprisonment, spending his remaining years teaching, not the dark side, but the lessons of how good intentions could be corrupted. General Grievous survived his injuries and was tried for war crimes. The cyborg's organic remains were separated from the mechanical weapons platform, and what remained, Kaiming Jai Shilo, the Kaleesh warrior he'd once been, was given the choice of execution or service. He chose service, his tactical genius redirected toward rebuilding what the war had destroyed. The Republic itself teetered on the edge of collapse before slowly, painfully reforming. Palpatine's emergency powers were rescinded. The Senate underwent massive investigations, rooting out corruption that had festered for decades. New representatives were elected. New laws were written. It would take a generation to heal, but the foundations were laid. And Goku? He stood on the Jedi Temple's highest platform, watching Coruscant's sunset paint the city planet in shades of orange and gold. Behind him, Obi-Wan approached with 2 cups of tea, a ritual they'd developed over the months of reconstruction. "Leaving soon?" Obi-Wan asked, offering one of the cups. "Yeah," Goku admitted. "Master Yoda thinks he's found a way to send me home. Something about using the Force to retrace the dimensional rift that brought me here. It's not guaranteed, but," he shrugged. "I miss my family. My kids. Chi-Chi's probably furious that I've been gone so long without calling. You saved our galaxy, Obi-Wan said quietly. Without you, Sidious would have won. The Jedi would be extinct. The Empire would have ruled through fear and tyranny for generations. Every life in this galaxy owes you a debt we can never repay. I just did what felt right, Goku replied. Though I gotta admit, your galaxy's way more complicated than mine. Back home, the bad guys are usually pretty obvious. Here. Everyone's got reasons, justifications, complicated histories. It's exhausting. That's the nature of civilization, Obi-Wan mused. The more complex the society, the more difficult the moral choices. But you navigated it with remarkable wisdom for someone who claims to be simple-minded. Goku laughed. I'm not wise. I just know that hurting innocent people is wrong, that friends are worth protecting, and that power without compassion is just another form of evil. Everything else is details. Those principles saved a galaxy, Obi-Wan countered. That's not nothing. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the sun sink below the endless cityscape. In the months since Order 66, they'd become genuine friends, two warriors from different universes who'd found common ground in shared values and hard-won battles. What will you do? Goku asked. Now that the war's over. Rebuild, Obi-Wan said simply. Train the next generation of Jedi. Make sure we learn from our mistakes, our arrogance, our complacency, our blindness to manipulation. The order that rises from these ashes will be different. Smaller, perhaps. More humble. But wiser, I hope. And Anakin? Obi-Wan's expression clouded. I visit him sometimes, on his exile world. He's broken, Goku. The guilt of what he did, even under Sidious's influence, has shattered him. But Padme's there, and the twins. Maybe, given time and distance from the dark side's influence, he'll find some measure of peace. Maybe he'll even find redemption. He paused. You gave him that chance. By not killing him when you could have, you gave him a future. Not many would have shown that mercy. He was my friend, Goku said simply. Friends don't give up on each other. Even when they screw up really, really badly. Behind them, a door opened. Ahsoka emerged, her montrals now adorned with white markings that signified her status as a full Jedi Knight, a rank finally granted after her actions during Order 66. She'd been instrumental in organizing the Jedi survivors, in reaching out to scattered Padawans and bringing them home. Master Yoda says the portal's ready, she announced. Whenever you want to go home, Goku, we can send you back. There was sadness in her voice. In the months since the war's end, she trained extensively with Goku, learning his techniques even though they didn't rely on the Force. The concept of ki fascinated her, the idea that power could come from within rather than from the Force that bound the galaxy together. Already? Goku said, setting down his tea. I was hoping for one more sparring match. We've sparred every day for 3 months, Ahsoka pointed out with a smile. And you've won every single time. But you're getting better. Last week you almost tagged me. You were in base form and holding back with your eyes closed. Details, Goku grinned. Then his expression grew serious. Take care of yourself, Ahsoka. And don't let the Jedi Order forget what happened here. The galaxy needs protectors, yeah, but it also needs people who question authority, who aren't afraid to stand up to corruption. You're good at that. She nodded, her eyes bright with unshed tears. I'll remember. We all will. The portal chamber in the temple's deepest levels hummed with gathered Force energy. Yoda stood at the center, his eyes closed in deep concentration, while a dozen Jedi Masters channeled their power into a swirling vortex of light that looked remarkably similar to the rift that had brought Goku to this galaxy. Ready, you are? Yoda asked, opening one eye to regard Goku. As I'll ever be, Goku replied. He'd changed back into his original orange GI, repaired and cleaned by temple attendants who take an unusual pride in maintaining the garment of their savior. You think this will actually work? Certain, I am not, Yoda admitted. But trust in the Force, I do. Brought you here for a reason, it did. Send you home when that reason is fulfilled, it will. The Force works in mysterious ways, huh? Goku smiled. Kinda like King Kai. Never tells you the whole plan, just points you in a direction and hopes you don't screw up too badly. Perhaps, Yoda's eyes twinkled with amusement. Or perhaps, know what would happen if everything explained was, we did. Would you have fought as fiercely if known you would succeed? Would you have shown mercy if certain redemption was possible? Mystery, necessary it is. Faith, essential it becomes. The portal stabilized, a tunnel of golden light leading somewhere beyond. Goku could feel it, that faint pull of home, of his own universe calling him back. Chi-Chi, Gohan. Goten. Vegeta and Bulma. Everyone waiting, wondering where he'd disappeared to. One more thing, Obi-Wan said, stepping forward. He held a small box, which he opened to reveal a kyber crystal, brilliant blue, pulsing with light. This belonged to Master Windu. Before he died fighting Sidious, he asked that it be given to you. He said you showed him what it truly meant to be a Jedi, to have power beyond measure yet use it only in defense of life. Goku accepted the crystal carefully. It was warm in his palm, humming with energy that resonated with his own ki. I can't use a lightsaber. I don't have the Force. No, Obi-Wan agreed. But you have something equally powerful. And perhaps, in your universe, you'll find a use for it. Consider it a reminder, of the galaxy you saved, the friends you made, and the lessons you taught us about what true strength means. Goku tucked the crystal into his GI's inner pocket, right over his heart. I'll keep it safe. And who knows? Maybe someday I'll figure out how to visit again. The multiverse is a big place. We would welcome your return, Shakti said from her position among the channeling Jedi. Though hopefully under less catastrophic circumstances. Yeah, let's not do the galactic war thing again, Goku agreed. Once was enough. He stepped toward the portal, then paused. Turned back one last time to face the assembled Jedi, the survivors of 1,000-generation-old order, battered but unbroken, ready to rebuild from ashes. You guys are going to be okay, he said with absolute certainty. I can feel it. This galaxy's been through hell, but it's going to heal. Just, don't forget the lesson, okay? Power without compassion, strength without mercy, that's what created Sidious. That's what nearly destroyed everything. Don't let it happen again. We won't, Yoda promised. Your example, follow we will. The Jedi of tomorrow, different from the Jedi of yesterday they shall be. Wiser. Humbler. More connected to the living Force and to the people we serve. This, you have taught us. Goku grinned one last time, that signature Son Goku smile that had given hope to billions in 2 universes. May the Force be with you, Masters. And hey, if you ever need help again, just wish on a Dragon Ball or something. I'll figure it out. Then he stepped through the portal. The vortex consumed him in golden light, dimensional barriers folding and twisting as reality rewrote itself. For a moment that stretched into eternity, Goku existed between universes, between the galaxy far, far away and his own Earth, between the Force and Ki, between one story and another. Then he was falling through blue sky, Earth's familiar sun warming his face, the energy signatures of his friends and family blazing like beacons below. He laughed with pure joy, his power flaring golden as he adjusted his descent. Home. He was home. In the galaxy he'd left behind, the Jedi sealed the portal and began the long work of rebuilding. Obi-Wan would go on to train a new generation, teaching them not just lightsaber forms and Force techniques, but the lessons of humility and compassion that Goku had embodied. Ahsoka would become a legend in her own right, a bridge between the old order and the new. Yoda would guide them all for a few more years before finally becoming one with the Force, his last words a reference to the Golden Warrior who'd saved them all. Anakin Skywalker, in his exile, would slowly find redemption through years of meditation, family, and confronting his own darkness. His children would grow strong and wise, inheriting both his potential and the hard-won wisdom of his mistakes. The galaxy would remember him not as Darth Vader the betrayer, but as a cautionary tale of good intentions corrupted, and the possibility of redemption even after the darkest fall. And somewhere in the depths of a maximum security prison, Darth Sidious sat in a force-dampening cell, his plans in ruins, his empire unborn, his grand design shattered by a warrior from another universe who'd simply refused to compromise his principles. Power without mercy, Goku had said, is just another form of evil. In the end, mercy had proven stronger than any dark side technique. Compassion had triumphed over manipulation. And a simple warrior with a pure heart had accomplished what 1,000 generations of Jedi had struggled to achieve. He'd brought balance to the Force not by destroying the Sith, but by showing everyone what it truly meant to be strong. The galaxy would remember. And in remembering, it would heal. Subscribe for more epic crossover stories. Speech balloon, drop a comment with which character you want to see in the Star Wars galaxy next.